working. Pull up YouTube. Appears to be. All right, we got audio. Cool. So now, what am I doing? Turn the audio down there. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Ooh, I am a mess today. But we are going to do this anyway. All right. All right. Let's do some. I didn't want to go to YouTube TV. Let's do some self-promotion here. Oh, wow, that's loud in my earphones. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but let's see. Let's play episodes. All right. Excuse me. Yeah, this is what I'm going to sound like throughout this live stream. I've been sick for about 4 days now, which is why I didn't record and post a video on Friday like I normally do. Or did I post a video? I don't even remember at this point if I posted a video on Friday. Let me see. Did I go in the right place? Yeah, it did. All right, cool. All right. So welcome back to Out of the Park Baseball 24 with the Chicago Cubs. I suppose I could turn my camera on. It doesn't really matter. Yep, there's the camera. There's me. All right. Back with another episode Out of the Park Baseball 24 here with the Chicago Cubs. Live stream Saturday afternoon. It's about 3 p.m. here Chicago time. I am drinking a lot of hot green tea these days to try to help my voice. And we are going to proceed through the month of July and forward. We'll see how I'm feeling, and we'll see how long I can go. But we'll go for a little bit nonetheless. I am live in the right place. Yes, I am. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I have to switch my stream code through OBS like 3 times a week, depending on what it is I'm broadcasting. When I stream for GM Games, I have to use the Twitch stream key. When I'm streaming here, I have to use the stream key for YouTube for this channel. And then when I'm doing my broadcasting stuff, I have a different stream key for that. So I'm always switching it and always have to make sure that I'm streaming to the right place. So we are good to go. Matt, how are you, my friend? Thanks for hanging out an extra hour and joining me here at 3 o'clock my time. How's it going today? It's been a while since I played, honestly. I've been trying to get a recording in, at least a recording in every other day. That's kind of been my routine here over the last couple of weeks. But this week, with me being sick, it just hasn't been possible. So I think the last video I recorded was Wednesday, I think. So going home for the summer. Where are you and where is home? How about me? I mean, other than, the cold, I'm good. I the only reason I actually have time today is because of the cold. I had doubleheader baseball game scheduled today that got pushed back because of the weather here in Chicago. Got pushed back to tonight, and I didn't think that being outside for doubleheader baseball game in 45 degree and 40 degree temperatures was the best thing for my cold. So I made the decision to stay home. New Hampshire. Where are you from in New Hampshire? It's actually where I grew up. I went to I I grew up in Newmarket and graduated from the University of New Hampshire in 98. So where are you from? In New Hampshire. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's why I'm here. I had some free time this afternoon that I wasn't expecting to have, and since I didn't have a video recorded, and I know I've had some people ask me for some live streams, I figured I would jump in and do some stuff today, I guess. So yeah, just as a recap. I've actually lived in Madbury. I lived in Madbury for about 6 months. I moved around a lot as a kid. My mom moved apartments a whole bunch when I was younger. So I lived in Madbury, I lived in Newmarket, I lived in Durham, I lived in Epping, I lived in Portsmouth, and then settled in Peabody, Massachusetts for the last couple of years of high school. But yeah, I grew up in Newmarket, lived there till I was in junior high, and then I moved to Durham, and then I moved back to Newmarket, and then I moved around a whole bunch. So, small world. Not that New Hampshire's that big a state, but yeah, small world for sure. Yep, I graduated UNH in 98. So, long time ago. So, a recap of last episode. A lot of injuries, a lot of important injuries. Turbo, you love the vids. They got you. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I've been doing stuff like this, not videos, not, live streams and stuff, but recaps of like worlds that I've been playing in Out of the Park Baseball since I started playing back in Out of the Park Baseball 7. In fact, if you go to the Out of the Park forums and you search on my username, which at the time was Big Poppy, because I'm a Red Sox fan, and you go back and you look at 2007, 2008, 2009, you'll see written recaps of Let's Plays that I did on the Out of the Park forums. Sorry, my hockey beard is getting pretty intense right now, and it's making me itchy. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. That's cool. Thank you very much for the words, and thanks for jumping in. So, recap. A lot of injuries, and not good ones. We get Tim Anderson back in a week, but he's been out for about a month. We lost Mikey Romero for the year. And he was playing really, really well for us. He was knocking the snot out of the baseball. We lost PCA for a few weeks. He'll be back right around the deadline. So it's forced us to kind of change things up offensively. Mike Campbell was somebody we picked up right before the season started, just as an elite defensive shortstop. The bat is passable. So far this year, an 85 OPS plus, but if you look at his fielding, he's been just unbelievable at shortstop. Rocco coming in, slinging mud. How about those Bruins? Let me tell you something, Rocco, and thanks for jumping in, man. I appreciate it. Let me tell you something about the Bruins. The single biggest issue that I have is not the endless stream of turnovers. It's not, it hasn't been, ineffective defense. It's been the fact that Montgomery made the decision to go away from what worked for them during the regular season with their goaltending tandem. Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman were so successful this year, in part because they shared the duties, right? Linus played 60% of the game and Swayman played 40%. We go to the postseason, and all of a sudden, he's got Ullmark playing every single game. And professional athletes are creatures of habit. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So, Linus is obviously not 100%. He's obviously hurt. But to go away from that tandem when that's what got them there is infuriating. And now he has no choice. He has to go with Ullmark in Game 7. I would love to see him go with Swayman, but I can't see a scenario where he goes to Swayman in Game 7. So that's my spiel on the Bruins. There may actually not be a stream tomorrow night over on GM Games. It all depends on how into the game I get. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But so injuries was the name of the game in the last episode. That being said, we are 51-31, tied for first place. I was looking at our Pythagorean record before the stream started, and we should, in theory, if everything was the way it should be, we should have a 9-game lead on the Reds right now. We're 5 games under our Pythag. The Reds are 4 games over. I mean, the run differential is insane. We have a higher run differential almost than the next 2 teams combined. So we've been really, really good. A little bit unlucky. Do I think the Leafs take it tonight? I hope not. And the only reason I say I hope not is because I want the Bruins to win tomorrow. I want the Leafs and the Leafs and the Bolts to go to a 7th game to give the Bruins a little bit of extra time to rest up Krejci and Bergeron and Ullmark and everybody else that's injured. So I hope not. I hope Tampa Bay wins. So that's kind of where we are. Our pitching continues to. We're 3rd in runs scored. We're 1st in runs against. We're 1st in defense. There's nothing we don't do well. We don't hit a lot of home runs. But I know you don't want that, but that's what I want. You asked me what I thought. Do I think they'll win tonight? It's in Tampa, right? The Leafs are the higher seed in that series. So if it's in Tampa, I think Tampa wins tonight. I saw somewhere that Matthews and Marner are like 2-10 in career closeout games in their career. So until they prove they can win, I gotta go with Tampa. I gotta go with Tampa tonight. So let's get to it. We got the draft coming up. We got the deadline. I'm not sure what we're gonna do deadline wise because we get Anderson back in a week, so that'll free up. That'll lengthen the lineup a little bit. I think maybe a power bat, like just a true slugger, to bring in as a DH or something. But we get Tim Anderson back in a week. Danny McCracken, we called up from AA, and he's actually been hitting really well, and he's a very good defender. So he's been holding his own, and that's really it. So it's time to get to simming here. We win 4-0. Was that Santana? Yeah, he went 4 2/3 innings. Watkins gets the win. Bregman hits a home run. A couple hits for Thompson, for Acuna. So yeah, we'll see how far we can get. You'll have to excuse the cough. There's just it's been with me since when did I do the baseball game at Guaranteed Rate? Tuesday. That, by the way, was a super cool experience. I had the opportunity to do a broadcast from Guaranteed Rate Field earlier this week, which is where the White Sox play. It was a college game. It's Illinois Tech and the University of Chicago play a college game every year at Guaranteed Rate Field, and I got to call the game Tuesday night. And that's when I was starting to get sick. It's now Saturday, and you can hear it in my voice, and you can hear the coughing, and it's just I'm just sick. So we'll see how long I can go for here. But Mike Campbell. 3 hits, 3 RBIs, including a home run. Contreras picks up another win. All right, so we've won 2 in a row so far this month. So have the Reds. Pirates in town. There's another win. Carson Coleman is eligible to come off the DL. Schmidt, 3 hits and an RBI. Casey Schmidt, man, he has been so good. The ratings just don't reflect it. Like he's been overperforming his ratings since the beginning. Right, like these ratings don't scream 280 hitter with 20 plus home run power and well above average defense, but that's what we've been getting out of him. Palante was 6 shutout innings, and we will continue on. There's Coleman. Got to bring Coleman back. Bubba Thompson with a home run. Bregman, Acuna each homer. Burns is 11-3. All right, so what do we do from a pitching perspective? Look at our bullpen, guys. Our bullpen's so good. I guess Chase Watkins probably goes down, and we will call back up Carson Coleman. Excuse me. Put him in a setup role. Middle relief. I think we just get to the draft. Once we get through the draft, we can start thinking about improving the team. Yeah, our bullpen is just absolutely nasty. It's ridiculous. And this was after trading, because don't forget, we traded 2 of our bullpen arms to get Mike Campbell. If we go back to 2-6, we traded Angel Shavili, who had put up a 141 ERA plus the previous season for us. And we traded Juan Carrella, who we had picked up in the offseason from the Yankees, who had, he wasn't great last year, but he was above average. So we traded 2 bullpen arms to get Mike Campbell. So just think about how good our bullpen could be even without that. So, all right, we get Anderson back in 5 days, so it'll be right in time for the draft. Oh, 6-5. We lose back-to-back games, and we're tied with the Reds again. Yeah, I think picking up a bat would be beneficial to us. Good. We're playing Cincinnati right now, and we win the first game 5-4. We were down 4-1. But Bubba Thompson. So Bubba Thompson's the other one, right? Bubba Thompson and Casey Schmidt are really the two players that we picked up in this series that have really propelled us, right? I mean, we got Bubba Thompson for next to nothing. We got him from Moises Ballesteros, who, looks like he had an okay season in his rookie season for Texas. Has spent most of this year in AAA, but we got him for next to nothing, and he's been absolutely fantastic for us. So we've made a couple of, I think, pretty solid deals in in this playthrough. Made a couple of pretty solid deals, I think. Another game against Cincinnati is a 5-1 loss. All right, so we are tied again. Last game before the All-Star game. So we win 5-1. We go into the All-Star break up by a game. Corbin Burns picks up his 12th win of the year. A 2.26 earned run average for Corbin Burns. Bubba Thompson homers. Alec Bregman homers twice. Cool. All-Star game stuff. Who made the All-Star team? Excuse me. Made the All-Star team for the Cubs. Corbin Burns is not the All-Star game starter. That goes to Jose Ferrer. Wow. Okay. All right. That's pretty good. So we had Burns make it, Nunez, Underwood, Vinicio. So we had 4 pitchers, 1 starter, 3 bullpen arms. Offensively, Tim Anderson made it. Casey Schmidt made it. Acuna made it. Bubba Thompson made it. We had 8 All-Stars. 8 All-Stars. Let's go. All-Star prospect game. Did we have anybody there? Alkins makes the All-Star team. The prospects game. He's not pitching particularly well, but just need that control to come around. He's walking a ton. Anybody else? On Necker. He's starting to come along too. Contact is dipped to a 60. This used to be 65 and 75. These are still obviously more than passable numbers. Those are our 2 big prospects, right? The 1 pitcher and the one bat. So, all right. It is draft time tomorrow, so we'll get to the draft. Oh, Tim Anderson. We'll send Wilkin back down. I think Danny McCracken, has done a really nice job so far. So he will stay on the big league roster. Anderson for McCracken. Anderson there. I think we can probably move Campbell up ahead of RJ. RJ Mayer getting some significant playing time, playing every day for 3 weeks until Anderson comes, or until Pete Armstrong comes back. And yeah, I mean, just crazy good defensively. Kraken will back up at second and a short. Play a couple times every week. Looks like I got to come up with a backup solution in center field. I thought McCracken, can he play center field? Yeah, he can. Danny McCracken can do it all. Look at that. 65 range, 75 error. Love it. He's our backup center fielder as well. Excuse me. All right. Everybody should be fine, though, because we don't have a game for a couple of days. We got the draft coming up. Just spilled hot tea all over myself. Okay. Draft. We're picking last. No surprise there. Let's see what is... Whoa. Let's see what is waiting for us at 30 whatever. Okay. There's some Sven Eric Grant, the nickname of Daddy, or Dandy, rather. It's a Daddy. That would have been a pick just based off of the nickname alone, if that was truly Daddy. Alexis Ellie Foss. Looks pretty good. Yeah, some good talent here in the draft. Pictures real quick. I mean, I love the personality. I hate the nickname. Anicio Miller. And he's already 21. I don't like the development for a 21-year-old already. But TJ Bedard. Now, TJ Bedard is an option. Again, we're talking the high ceiling or low ceiling, high floor guy. But I kind of like that. Virtus Die. Just pick the tallest guy with a high... Yeah, I could do that. I know how you feel about those tall guys. So I'm leaning TJ Bedard. I would say I doesn't like him quite as much. Or is this a draft where we take a shot on a high schooler and hope that he develops? I mean, I don't know. This guy looks pretty good. Zaire Ventus. Alexis Flex Foss makes, the nicknames have been really weird in this in Out of the Park 24, but like this guy's really good, but the impossible signing. I mean, that's a great right fielder with that arm. I would say he doesn't like him as much. See, this scares me. Like, I know I have really high, very high scouting on him. OSA only has average, but I get the impression that the minute I draft somebody, this is what he turns into. You had an international pitching prospect whose nickname was just God. I hope you took him. You like Ventus's profile. I like it too, as long as it's this. As long as it's this, I like it. I like this the fly ball hitter, the spray hitter tendencies. He's really good defensively out in right field. Obviously, the contact gap and home run power. He's going to hit for a relatively high average. Should hit for a fair number of extra base hits. Franchise cornerstone. Who do they think we should take? They think we should take Dave Thomas. I don't want to take if we didn't have, like, if our best batting prospects wasn't a third baseman right now, that would be an option, but check the scouting page to see the last time OSA scouted versus the last time you did. Got it. I never think to do that. So we scouted him on June 2nd. And OSA scouted him on 4/12. Okay. So we scouted him, a month and a half later? So that's encouraging. It looks like the eye has gone up and down a little bit. Same with the contact. The power looks like it's dipped from a 75 to a 65. So there has been some dip. Contact has gone up. I guess up, down, and then back up. Kind of leaning Zaire Ventus. You were outbid, and he had 2 UCLs before he turned 20. That's fair. That's fair. So I'm leaning Zaire Ventus. Let's just see if there's... I don't want to take first baseman, although Kurt Galanis. No. I mean, that bat's pretty special, but no. Luis Orozco, no. He's not a shortstop. Michael Torres is almost ready to come up now. You see Sven again. Michael Torres is like ready. He would be in the majors probably next year. So that's a potential option. Man, I would love for him to fall to the second round. Can you see Sven again? Yeah. He's an impossible sign, though, so I'm not going to take a shot on him in the first round. If he wasn't an impossible sign, I probably just take him, but it's not. So I think Ventus is the pick with the hope that maybe Michael Torres is there in the second round. Because we are going to need... We don't have a comp pick, right? We just have our pick. Oh, we do have a comp pick. So we're picking 33 and 36. So we might get them both. That's awesome. We're picking 33 and 36. Do we just take them both? Or do we take Torres with the first pick and then maybe go after a pitcher in the second round? Because, I mean, we could potentially be looking at Bedard, too. So we've got Bedard, we've got Ventus, and we've got Torres. Chances are, whichever one we don't take won't be there for our second round pick. I like what I see out of Torres. We last scouted him literally a week ago. OSA last scouted him in... and his ratings have been climbing, like, significantly. I like that. I like the fact that he's been getting better. I think maybe we go Torres. Oh, yeah, I just looked at that before you even said it. Yeah, he's raising like a maniac. I think we go Torres here. Michael Torres. He can do everything really well. Like, he's not elite at anything. All that contact, if it ends up at a 75, is elite. But he's a good base runner. He's a good outfielder. Get on base. Hey, Breeze, how are you, my friend? So is Michael Torres the pick? So I think we take Torres and then go pick by pick. I think that's what we do. Are we good with that? Michael Torres as our first round pick. Only wants $650,000. Ground ball profile. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean, it would be nice if that was a line drive or... You're right. I'm bouncing back and forth here. Ventus, high greed, low intelligence. But I love the growth that we're seeing. I may get them both, but I like the growth that we see from Torres. But the reality is that I would rather use one of these picks on Bedard. So that we don't have to spend a crap ton of money on pitching. You'd probably go Zaire and hope Torres is there with the comp. All right, you convinced me. You convinced me. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. We will go Zaire Ventus with our first pick. Hope that the Shadow Ball is an elite nickname. Yes, it is. All right, we'll take Ventus. All right. The White Sox take Anicio Headcase Miller. Oakland takes Phil Whitley, and it is now our pick. So again, it comes down to Michael Torres or TJ Bedard. He's a 50 potential pitcher by OSA. Scouting, we scouted him a week ago. OSA scouted him back in April. So they haven't scouted him in 3 months. He's also, I mean, his overalls are trending up a little bit here. The potential control has gone up from a 55 to a 60. Solid level 3 starter or better. All right, we're going to do it. We're going to take the center fielder. We're going to take Michael Torres and then see what's available to us. You wouldn't take Torres. All right. Michael Torres is our second round pick. All right, so a couple of outfielders with our first 2 picks. Let's see what's there with our second round pick. Maybe we get lucky. We do not get lucky. I was hoping he would be there. Cam Caminiti is on here still. Hasn't been drafted yet. Sincere Netters. Love it. Love the name. Love the name. Sincere Netters. Ernie Went. Ground ball pitcher with a changeup that likely doesn't develop. I mean, there's still a lot of really good pitchers here. Wow. Marquise Midget. His nickname is Tug. The game is bizarre. Rip Shadow Ball. Let's look. Oh, he went the very next pick. The very next pick to Baltimore. So, yeah, apparently the game did value him quite a bit. So, that's all right. That's all right. We have enough pitching to make it worth it. DJ Amadeo looks friggin' good. 75 stamina, high work ethic. You think the chance? Oh, yeah, because it's a 25, not a 20. So, it's possible it will. Or do we just lean into it and draft draft Dandy and see what his demand looks like? See what his demand looks like. Went as a move. Well, there's Tug McGraw. You think Went is the pick? Ground ball pitcher, 65 stamina. I'm down with that. I mean, I'm not crazy about drafting high school pitchers, but I could be down with that. I could be down with Ernie Went. Ground ball tendency, 60 hold, 65 stamina, sure. Is he still there? He's still there. So we're in the third round. Is it worth having 2 third-round picks next season? It's too late. I already drafted him. But let's look. Where are we? It dropped back in April a little bit, or I guess in May. Went from a 75 to a 70, but the last 2 scouting reports have been the same. Yeah, we just did it. I love this. If he develops as expected, he could leave a trail of disappointed, overmatched hitters in the wake of his talent. Love it. Yeah, I went a little bit quick there, but, what are you going to do? All right, so is this Is this a good round to take a flyer on Grant and see what his demand is? Or do we go after someone like Gavin Fine? Second baseman. But again, that high ceiling, low floor kind of guy. Oh God, look at this. This is all over the place. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. His overall started as an 80, dropped as low as a 50, has rebounded to a 60. His overall ratings dropped a couple years ago. This is bizarre. Or his potential, rather. Thing is, once they get on a roster and get a TCR bump, that's a good sign. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We've had that happen to a couple of players. I think maybe we go one more round. Maybe if we try to get to the 5th and see if Grant is still there. Leading up to the draft, I don't know how much it matters. It used to not matter. I don't believe in jinxes. What I say as a broadcaster has absolutely no impact on what happens on the field. I don't believe in jinxes. Got to call my first walk-off of the year on yesterday, actually. That was pretty cool. That was fun. That was my first walk-off victory of the season. Any other pitchers that we want to take a shot at right now? I think we're looking offensively. Cam Caminiti can do a little bit of both. He might be a good pick a couple rounds from now. You have 16 mil to throw at Sven. Maybe worth it. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we take him here. And if we end up with a 3rd round pick next season, that's fine. So, or an additional 3rd round pick next season. So let's take Sven Eric Grant. So it looks like that shortstop is gone. Like Secrist. He looks pretty highly developed as well. 21-year-old, 6 foot, 180 pounds. We scouted him a month ago. Yeah, it looks like most of OSA scouting was back in April. Mike Secrist or Seachrist, depending on your choice of how you choose to say it, I guess. He looks kind of like, I think, the best option right now. Chris Toledo. Nope. I also spent 3 hours turning the audio up and down on the broadcast yesterday because the setup that I have doesn't have a cough button. Like most broadcast setups, there's a box that sits right next to you, and there's a button on it that you can push when you have to cough, and it literally says cough, and you push it, and you can cough, or you can clear your throat, or do whatever you have to do, but it doesn't kill the necessarily kill all of the audio. I don't have that luxury. I just have an audio board, so I had to crank it down. I would crank it down, cough, turn it back on, make the call, turn it down, cough, turn it back, and I did that for 3 hours yesterday. Chris, what's up? Congrats on winning the World Series. Yes, that was quite the victory as well. I thought once we got down 3-2 that it was all over with, but yeah, we battled back for sure. Sug Gillen, 18-year-old shortstop. Gillen has all the tools to develop into a star caliber shortstop. Bobby Euchre knows about the cough button. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. So I am leaning. Where am I leaning? Sincere netters. Say doesn't like him quite as much as we do. He went to UN school. Oh yeah, he went to Northwestern in Baltimore, not Northwestern here in Chicago. Rise to a level of a solid 3 or better starter. I think this is probably the pick. A lefty who at 18 years old already throws 95 to 97. He's not all that big, which means that Nope doesn't like him. But a lefty who can throw hard, has high work ethic. Sure. Take sincere. No, bonus demand, 3.6. We need that money. If I didn't look at that, we need the money for our last pick. Let's go back to batters. So I think then we go Gillen. We go Sug Gillen, line drive hitter, good speed, good enough defensively. I think Sug Gillen. $900K. I don't like his $3.6 million demand. Sechrist is still there, so I think that's probably the next pick. Above average everyday player, or everyday big league player. What am I looking at? Line drive hitter. Again, good defense, good speed. Contact and gap power is already at a 40. Home run power is already at a 35. Mike Sechrist. All right, now we can start looking at meme-ish type stuff. Individual pitch potential. Josh, are we going to have a knuckleballer? Are we going to have a knuckleballer in this draft? Let's find out. No knuckleballers. I'm looking at batters. No knuckleballers in the draft. We got a knuckle curve. That's not the same thing. Circle change. Nobody with a good circle change either. Fastballs. We got Joe Russell. Excuse me. You got to check your past drafts that you forget. I like doing that sometimes, just going back and looking at the history of my league. And, you forget, you'll see somebody that you've had as like a backup catcher or a backup middle infielder or something like that. And you drafted them in the 12th round or something bizarre. Oh, what is this doing there? What does that say? You can't stand. There's just so many right-handed hitting baddies and left-handed throwers as position players. I've never really noticed, truth be told. I've never really noticed. Joel Davison, 65 years old, 6'5", I should say. Oh, let's look at fielding. See if we got any catchers. Mike Curry, low work ethic, but damn, that's a good defensive catcher. I've noticed that there are a lot more catchers in Out of the Park 24. This is obviously high work ethic here, but a lot more low work ethic catchers in Out of the Park 24 than we've seen in past seasons. The only time you look past your first round picks is when they're off winning the World Series in some other team. Actually, even though I don't like his personality, that's a really good catcher. We literally scouted him today. All right, we're going to take Mike Curry. Probably too early to be taking him there, but whatever. Kevin Addy. High work ethic, 70 range. It's hard finding catcher prospects with good defensive. Yeah, it is, and that's why you take a chance on somebody who potentially has low work ethic, right? Because he might turn out. BJ Notariani, high work ethic, 70 outfield range, can play all 3 outfield positions. Sure. Infield range. Whoa. I mean, that's really freaking good. He'll never hit enough, but that's really good. Excuse me. Okay. Jonathan Bacote? I mean, he's got the one skill, the potential 70 plate discipline. He can play really anywhere. Well, maybe not third base with the arm, but middle infield for sure. So the player's a ground ball hitter just like Torres. Yeah, just put it up on Discord. I'll take a look when I can. Ben Meager. I mean, that's a third baseman, man. He doesn't have the bat for third base, but I mean, we're gonna take Ben Meager just simply because of the defense. Let's go back to individual pitch potential. I didn't like what I saw there last time, but maybe now that we're a little bit further into the draft, I'll be a little more Zach Fisher, 6'4". Regarding the left-hand hitting, or right-hand hitting left, there's only been 57 position players who have had that. But if you look now, there's probably like 50 in the league at the moment. I wonder why that is. Like, I wonder what's built into the code of the game that causes that. It's interesting. I think we take Zach Fisher here. 45, 50, 45. Excuse me. Hall is what he is, right? I mean, we're not going to get anybody great at this point, I don't think. High work ethic. If that movement man was a 40, I would have, that's something I probably jump on. Yeah, that's probably a good point. It probably is just a random setting, import player X, assign batting, assign pitching, and call it a day. You probably don't look that deep into that end of it. 5'10". Preciado. Yeah, we're getting into some dregs here. Let's go back to batting potential. Excuse me. Yes, this is what I sounded like during the game last night. It was pretty awful. But I managed. Yibriel Ryder. Nope. Look, we are. This isn't looking. I mean, he's 21. Oh, so the ratings are all over the place. We rated him on 6'1". They rated it. Yeah. We can take someone like Jamie Fuller, I guess. He's got the potential, power, and eye. Oh, man. Josh Huey. Low work ethic. Joe Dixon. Man, if he didn't have the low work ethic, like I like this profile with the high gap power and above average eye and discipline. That's kind of like my type. I mean, at this point, does it really matter? Like, that's probably the right pick. I mean, we're what, round 13? We'll do one more, and then we'll let the AI finish up. Up there for I. Rob Heimerdinger. How did he fall this far? Glad we looked at one more. Sure. Take Rob Heimerdinger. And we'll let the AI go ahead and finish. Excuse me. All right, now let's see what that impossible guy wants. Sven Eric Grant. So we can sign. Let's just see what he wants first. Over 11.5, so we can make that work. So what, offer him like 13? 13, yeah. I think 13 is 13 significantly above 11.5. I think it is. Let's try that. Let's see if he'll take 13 million. because that still leaves us enough money to sign everybody else. Because these guys are over slot, so we need to make sure that there's enough there to offer those 3 players. How am I feeling about my Bruins? I talked about this a little bit earlier, Ashton. Bruins Twitter is like one of the worst places in the world. Anyway, $4 a pound. What? Bruins Twitter is one of the worst places in the world. It is filled with reactionary man-children who are more upset about other people losing a game than the people who lost the actual game. That's my take on sports, Bruins Twitter, and really sports in general. I don't get that worked up about the stuff anymore. But how do I feel about it? I feel like Jim Montgomery should never have gone with Ullmark for all 6 games. I feel like Montgomery should have stuck with what got the Bruins there, which is the goaltending tandem of Swayman and Ullmark. And I think Ullmark should have gotten games 1, 3, 5, and 7. And I think Swayman should have gotten 2, 4, and 6. That's what got them there. They went to Linus Ullmark, who clearly isn't healthy. And now I don't think they have a choice. I think they have to start Ullmark in game 7 tomorrow night. He's injured. He's pretty clearly injured. And he's not playing well. So it's been a little. I'm concerned, but I'm not. Like, if they lose, they lose. Like, it'll suck. It'll be a disappointment considering how great of a regular season they have. But I'll be over it within an hour. I'm okay. I still think they're going to win. I think they're going to win in games. Same thing happened in 2011. Tim Thomas played really, really bad in their first round. And I know what happened in 2011 has no impact on what happened in 2023. But in 2011, they played terrible. Tim Thomas played really, really bad in the first 6 games of the series against, I think it was Tampa. And then he pitched a 1-0 shutout in game 7. So I have a feeling, because I can't imagine that he goes with Swayman in game 7. I have a feeling Ullmark goes in game 7. I think the Bruins win, and then I hope that Monty goes to a goaltending tandem for the second round. That's my take. Watch the off run Went and Gillen. Yeah, Bearcat, I will show the manager options here in a second. Yes. Yeah, I see that they're over slot, so I'll have what, $3.3 million left, so I should be able to fit all of these in without any trouble. I assume that's how it works, right? Let's find out. Yeah, we have $3.2 million left, so he wants 900. Yep, we are okay. Let's make sure we get these guys locked in. Seacrest wants 490. That's fine. Torres wants 650. That's fine. Cool. Chris, you're rooting for Edmonton? I guess. There's one guy, and again, I go back to Twitter because I think Twitter is just a mess, but there's one guy on Twitter who made me become an Edmonton hater for the postseason. The playoff facility should just institute a shootout instead of a regular season, just 3 hours of a shootout. That would be something. That would be something. Manager options. What particularly do you want to look at? Bearcat, is there something specific? I have everything set up except for my Fire minor league personnel. I let my assistant GM handle that. My minor league managers handle my depth charts. And I have cannot be fired on because I don't feel like being fired. I don't play the game to see if I can avoid being fired. Swayman is a very capable goalie. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's definitely a 1B. I mean, Ullmark was obviously the best goalie in the NHL this season, but Swayman was fantastic. And that's why it worked for them, because they were both really, really good, and it didn't force Montgomery to lean on Ullmark for 60 games or whatever. So my hope is that they figure it out tomorrow at home. They go to the second round. and then Montgomery goes to a rotation. You good? Cool. All right. Yeah, if there's something else you want me to look at, let me know. All right, so we are now through the draft. Time to start thinking about what we want to do offensively, and we don't have any money because we just spent it on the draft. But I think if we're gonna add, it's a bat, right? It's a power bat that we can stick at DH to replace Corona and Wagner, neither of which are hitting. So let's see what is on the block here a couple weeks before we get. And I already looked at this once. Like Chris Bryant would be perfect, right? I mean, he's okay in the field, but he's a captain, cleanup hitter, got really good offensive ratings against both lefties and righties, but he doesn't want to be traded back to Chicago. He doesn't want to be traded anywhere, apparently. He's exercising the 10-5 rule. You root for the team with the least amount of collective teeth. Oh, the sad face was for the lack of knuckleballers. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I feel you. So a power bat is kind of what we're looking for. And there are a couple here. You got Pete Alonso, Nolan Gorman. Gorman isn't, I mean, he's 2 years removed from a 4-win season for the Cardinals. I don't like the contact, and that's basically Pete Alonso. It's the same thing with Alonso. Alonso's a better hitter, but he's also making a lot more money. It's $23 million, though. That's the problem. They literally would have to retain it all. I mean, he's putting up a 768 OPS this year. 200 batting average. The other thing I like to do is look at upcoming free agents, because there might be a name there that isn't on the trade block that they would be willing to trade. Do we have Goldie another run? Bring him back as a 40-year-old? Pete Alonso, question mark. I don't mind the idea of going back to Goldschmidt. He's hitting 300 this year for Philadelphia, and he can rake against lefties. So he would be out there against lefties that would bench Wagner, who's been terrible, so that's fine. He's popular. Let's see if we can get Paul Goldschmidt back again. They're going to have to retain because I don't have any money, but what do we want to give up? Yep, that's the plan. What do we want to give up? Let's start light. Let's start with Drew Gray. You'd feel insulted if I were them. And don't forget, we are playing on hard mode, so there is no make this work now button. I can't imagine that gets us anywhere close. So let's add in a 19-year-old Pat Monk. I think that's what most teams should do, honestly, since yeah, right, Ashton. Like I get that you want to ride, the season that Ullmark had, but maybe the reason that Linus was so good this year was because he got those breaks, right? Because he got 3 or 4 days in between each start, right? Because even if the Bruins played every other day, in a lot of those cases, it would be Ullmark and then Swayman. Ullmark played probably 65% of the games. Swayman played the remaining 30 or 35%. Maybe that's why Ullmark was so good this year, because he was rested. So why do this to him now all of a sudden? Professional athletes, I said this earlier, professional athletes are creatures of habit. And when you break that habit, when you break that routine, it can cause issues. All right, let's just start with this. Let's start with Drew Gray and Pat Monk and see what St. Louis says. When most teams, while they have a tandem, okay, Armstrong is out for another 2 weeks. Even though most teams have a tandem, most teams also have a clear 1A, right? Most teams have a clear starting goalie and a clear backup goalie. And in this case, Swayman is the clear 1A, Ullmark is a clear 1A, but Swayman is not every bit as good. He obviously didn't have as good a season as Linus did, but he is a starting goaltender in the NHL. So they had a true tandem. You know, you look at I don't even know the backup goalies for other teams, but you look at Tampa, like they're going to ride Vasilevsky because he's their clear starting goalie. And the Bruins, they have Ullmark, but again, part of the reason that Linus, I think, was so good was because he got those breaks. Right, Linus played, I mean, he won 40 games this year. I think he was like 46-1. So he didn't even play 50 games this year, and he's played 7 now in the last 2 weeks, or 6 now in the last 2 weeks, which is a much larger, a lot more games in a lot fewer days. Okay, so that's not close. So we are going to have to go up actual talent in order to get Goldie this year, which I don't know I'm ready to do. Yeah, this guy looks like he's going to be a really nice backup catcher for us down the road once Romo starts to get more expensive. I'm not giving up any of these players. I'm simply not. Probably laugh at our offer. Well, that's not good. What about Chase Watkins? Can I eat any? It looks like I can eat some of it. Okay. 80%. All right, what about that? We got Cincinnati coming up after the All-Star game. We had them before the All-Star game, too. All right, so that hasn't changed it at all. They want Vinicio, which isn't going to happen. Torres and Ventus both signed their signing bonuses. So Ventus, we will disable. Torres, we will disable. And at 22 with 65 contact, I think we start him there in high A-ball this year. And if he rakes, we'll move him up to double A before too long. Andy Clark, was he a pick this year? He was picked last year. Looks pretty good. Sorry, I got sidetracked. All right, so they want Vinicio. So I don't know that we're going to be able to get Goldschmidt this season. Without giving up a legit player, and I don't know that I necessarily want to do that, especially not Vinicio. All right, let's sim a week or so, and we'll get a little closer to the. I just realized I'm like slouching in my chair, and you guys can only see the top of my head. All right, let's go. But ultimately, I don't get all that worked up about sports anymore. I mean, I have my favorite teams, and I have my teams that I will root for, and I do consider myself a relatively knowledgeable, diehard Boston sports fan. But I don't know. I just can't get too worked up about it anymore. Let's get Burns out there. Just too old for that. Just too old for that now. So, yeah. All right, we got Cincinnati. We got a 1-game lead. We are in Cincinnati. We got Burns on the hill. And, of course, we lose with Corbin Burns on the hill. So we are now tied with Cincinnati again. Paddock pitches today. We win 6-4. Anderson's back in the lineup. 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Corona, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. McCracken, 2 hits and an RBI. Paddock goes 7. We look for the series victory over Keaton Wynn. Santana pitching for us. We win 3-2. Excuse me. Bubba Thompson, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Another home run for him. Santana's been really good. So was Underwood. Underwood we signed as a free agent after we made that trade for Campbell because we needed another bullpen arm, and he's been just amazing. We got Miami next. Take a look at the block again. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I mean, Goldie looks like the right guy, but it's just more than I want to pay. I mean, He is on the block now, so does that change anything? He wasn't on the block before. So now that he's on the block, does that change anything? Where were the players that we gave up? We had Monk on there. We had Drew Gray on there. I want to hang on to Kellner just because he is a reasonable two-way player. He's been really bad, though. Decent enough, but I think we can do better. So when I put Kellner on there, that changes things. Angel Gonzalez. Maybe the game. Let's try it with Kellner. Let's see what they say. We got Miami, and Miami's actually quite good right now, I think. Oh, I guess they're not. I get my leagues confused. I can't remember if that's in my White Sox save or in this one, but looks like they're not pretty good. So we've got them for 3 games in Miami. And we lose. All right, so now they only want Drew Burress, which isn't going to happen. But that's, I think, better than than what we were looking at before. You want Alejandro Cervantes? I'm not going to give up much more than that. Mackenzie Gore, we're a game and a half up. We got Palante pitching against Gore. I wouldn't mind, yeah, we're not making that deal. I wouldn't mind picking up a 4th starter as well. Still have a game and a half lead. It's like every time we win, they win. Every time we lose, they lose. And Tim Anderson is diagnosed as pending again. God damn. All right. This looks like it's going to be a lost season for Tim. Hopefully that injury's not severe. All right. Let's clear all this out. Yeah, I wouldn't mind picking up a 5th starter. Wouldn't mind picking up a 5th starter. Trading block. What do we got for pitchers? What do we got for starting pitchers? Rodon. We bring back Matt Brash. St. Louis is using him as a closer, which is just mindless. Luis Castillo is making $25 million. Gausman is making 16. That's not awful. He's only a 50 overall. Logan Gilbert, he's an extreme fly ball pitcher, which I don't like. He's also making $23 million. Joe Ryan. Looking at Gausman, maybe. Again, it's going to require them to retain, and I don't... Oh, it's a 2-year deal. No, thank you. I mean, suppose you can retain it all. Yeah. Can't really afford any of the really good players on here, unfortunately. Once we start asking for them to retain all of it, they start to shy away. Savale isn't... He hasn't been any better than what we're throwing out there. Gallen's no good anymore. Keegan Aiken? He's been pretty good. He's actually been really good. Keegan Aiken. What do we give up for Keegan Aiken? You want Drew Gray for Keegan Aiken? Let's try that. All right, so we've lost a couple games in a row. We still have a 1.5 game lead here, though. We lose Anderson for 6 weeks. I mean, I guess that's better than what it could have been. It means we get him back at roster expansion, roughly. So who comes up? Got enough people to play middle infield, so I guess call up Wilkin as the bat. Ah, cool. We signed Went, we signed Gillen, and we signed Grant. So all three of them liked the contracts, so that works. So we'll see how Sven Eric Grant does. He's not a center fielder. Let's just stop that right now. Let's excuse me, stick him in left. Ventus, we will set his position to right field. Force him out and right. All right, cool. Seacrest signed. He probably doesn't belong in rookie ball as a 21-year-old. We'll put him in A ball. I think Hawkins is ready to come up as well. He's already got 70 movement as a 21-year-old. You had to make fake Topps RG Mayer cards. Okay. I'll go take a look at him when we get a minute. Did we get an answer to that trade offer? Almost. Cool. All right, so Kyle Crow. So we're going to send Drew Gray and Kyle Crow to Houston in exchange for Keegan Aiken. The overall isn't great for Aiken, but great, really good movement, good control, a couple of good pitches, and he's pitched really, really well this year for Houston. So we're going to go ahead and make that deal. Fans love it, so that's good. And then what do we do with our pitching staff for the time being? I think the answer is Edwards to the minors, and then Palante. Can't send Edwards to the minors. Interesting. Okay. Foster Griffin to the minors. Can't send him down. Can we send Palante down? We can't. We can't send any of these guys to the minors. So we are going to have to turn around and try to trade someone. It's probably Edwards. See if anybody's interested. If not, we'll just DFA and see if we can sneak them through. Excuse me. Yeah, we'll just DFA him, see if we can sneak him through. We probably can, but we'll see. Designated for assignment. Aiken will come up. We'll move him. It also gives us a lefty in the rotation, which is nice, which is something we were lacking. I think that is good for our pitching staff. And now we just need to figure out the lineup because we do have a Tim Anderson size hole now out there at second base. Campbell will move up. McCracken will come back in at second. I mean, if nothing else, we're going to have really, really good infield defense, or middle infield defense with Campbell and McCracken, who's got a 75 range at second base. But, yeah, I think we still need a bat. Yeah, I mean, Corona can back up at second. Hasn't changed at all. It's still a bunch of players that won't that we won't be able to get. CJ Abrams, our eyes. Gallo on pace for 32 homers. Yeah, I mean, Goldschmidt's really the one I want. A lot of prospects. I mean, Tim Morgan? Does that get us close? So what if we do that? Cervantes and Monk. Morgan looks okay. He's not hitting right now in rookie ball, but he is still just 19 years old. He's got good speed. I mean, he's okay. I don't know that he's actually a 65, but he looks all right. Let's submit it and see if we can get anywhere close to this. Game and a half lead still. There's a 10-2 win. Okay, we're there. We are there. Bregman 2 hits, 3 RBIs. Corona 2 for 4. Doesn't want to be taken out of the lineup. Has one of his best games of the year. Paddock gets the win, and it looks like we will be able to bring. Looks like we will be able to bring Goldie back. Dominic Borgerding. Sure. So the only real piece in here that has any value is Tim Morgan, and he still ages away. The other three players, I mean, Cervantes looks okay. He's decent defensive outfielder, but that's about it. Monk will never hit enough, has the low work ethic. So they're terrible, Chris. I shouldn't say they're terrible. That's not fair. They've got a very good offense. Now that everybody is swinging, like Kike wasn't hitting well at the beginning of the season. He's hitting the ball really well now. I'd like to see Casas start to hit a little bit more. Raffy is gonna, he's gonna give you Raffy numbers. I think losing Duvall like they did when they did, I think that hurt because he was absolutely on fire when he went down with an injury. I don't think they have nearly enough pitching to compete. They're over, or I think they're at 500 right now. I think that's probably where they end up because their pitching is just that bad. All right, so we're going to make this deal. Morgan, Cervantes, Monk, and Borgerding for Paul Goldschmidt with 90% of the salary retained. The fans love that. We bring Goldie back for a second straight season. We'll send Abreu down. Can I send Wagner down? No. All right, we'll just DFA Abreu then. It's not going to matter. And then we will call up Goldschmidt. Get him back in the lineup against lefties right away. And have him, his bat's still good enough that he's like a number 3 hitter, number 4 hitter against lefties. But I think we bat him behind Acuna. And then against righties, we'll just stick with what we have. So, Chris, that's how I feel about the Red Sox. I think they won't have enough pitching to really stay in contention for too long. Chris Sale is not Chris Sale anymore. I think he could be a different version of Chris Sale and still be a halfway decent pitcher, but he's not, Sale from 2016 or 2017 or anything like that anymore. So, yeah, it gives me something to watch in the afternoons and the evenings, but I'm not expecting great things out of them. So we'll see how it goes. Win 6-1 and we get PCA back. That's huge. And RJ Mayer 3 for 4 with 2 doubles in this one. He was the big bat the day that PCA comes back. Contreras is 10-5. All right, so who goes to the minors? Wilkin goes to the minors. Get PCA back in the lineup. Injury list. Yeah, and the reality is that Mayer did perfect. He was totally fine. The bat's not great, but defensively he was just amazing. So against righties, he'll go back in. Let's move him down. Let's do something like that. With, excuse me again. Who am I looking for? RJ Mayer as our backup. Against lefties, he'll play a little bit more. Maybe like 4th game or something. All right, another series against, since this is our 3rd series against the Reds in a month. This time we're at home. We'll get Anderson. Yeah, we'll get Anderson back right at roster expansion. So we'll have him back for September. We lose. We're a game and a half up. Corbin Burns pitching today. Hasn't been a great month. I think we're, slightly over 500? Look at that first, and then look at the box score for that game. We're 12-8, 600 ball. I guess it's okay. That's okay. tough. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean they're Tampa's obviously running away and hiding with the East right now, but they're not as good as the Yankees. They're not as good as the Jays, and frankly, they're probably not as good as the Orioles either. So, and not every team from the division can make the postseason. So, do I think that they'll finish ahead of the Orioles and like who could they possibly finish ahead of in the AL East? Right? I mean, it's not going to be the Rays. So so in order to make the postseason, they have to finish ahead of two teams in the AL East, right? They have to finish ahead of at least two, at least one, but probably two. And I don't see a team there that they are definitely that much better than that they can finish ahead of. So I don't see it happening. Final game of the series. Oh, we lose 2 out of 3 to Cincinnati. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. Now we got Atlanta. I don't think, are the Braves any good this year? Yeah, it looks like they're leading their division. Okay, terrific. First game is another loss. So both of these guys can go to AAA. Leads down to a game. The Reds, man, they have been a thorn in our side for a couple of years now. This is year 3 where we just can't shake them. We got a couple of trade proposals. We'll look at the box score first. Acuna 4 for 5. Bubba Thompson 3 for 4. Each homer. Contreras goes 8. What do we got for trade proposals? The Yankees want to send us Cooper Criswell with 50% retaining. Yeah, no, you can't have RJ Mayer. You can't have RJ Mayer at all. Go away. Reject. The Tigers want to send us Casey Mize. They want RJ Mayer. Why does everybody want RJ? Get out of here. Astros. Everybody wants RJ. They want to... okay, now see, this is interesting, though. They want to send us Kevin Gausman and retain 100% of the contract, but they want Mike Hawkins and RJ Mayer. It says we would benefit from this deal. So, I mean, let's discuss this, but we're going to discuss it without either of these players, first and foremost. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to give up talent, but the question is, how much am I really willing to give up? I feel like we made the move from a pitching perspective that we needed to make. I mean, I would consider Paddock, just because Paddock is going to opt out after this season, and we're likely not able to sign him. Sloan's not a worthless prospect either. I mean, this is an interesting move, right? Because they're basically the same pitcher. They're basically the same pitcher. 50 stuff, 55 movement, 75 control. And then Paddock is 50, 65, and 75. So he's a little bit better. What am I doing? Compare. Paddock is better against left. Well, yeah, they're both right. These are weird splits. I guess I didn't really notice this, but Paddock as a righty is really, really good against lefties. And Gausman is really, really good against righties. Paddock throws a little harder. He's younger. Fastball, slider, changeup, splitter. Fastball, cutter, curveball, changeup. I mean, this is interesting. It's interesting because it saves us money next season. What do you guys think? And I'm kind of thinking about submitting it and seeing what the Astros say, because Paddock's going to opt out. I mean, he's been that good that he's going to opt out. It's only an $11 million contract next year, so he is going to opt out. Gausman we have for this year and next year. If the ratings collapse in the offseason, we can cut him and it won't cost us anything. I'm just looking at there. Yeah, so Paddock is extremely popular, which obviously wouldn't help us. But, I mean, he was 3.7 WAR pitcher last season, 16-9. Gausman last year was 13-12. I mean, Gausman had a good year last year. 212 innings. Got the better stamina. Yeah, the age is a little concerning, but again, we're going to lose Paddock at the end of the year anyway. And since Gausman isn't going to cost us a penny, even if the ratings collapse in the offseason, we can cut him and we're no worse off, and we are up a third base prospect. Can we do this without? Let's try this. I didn't think I was going to trade Paddock, but, Gausman at $0, I think is good value, right? Let's sim a day. Let's see what Houston says. Thinking about it. It's a 6-3 win. All right, they want Von Necker in order to make that work. All right, well, that's not going to happen. Campbell goes 3 for 4. Acuna, a couple hits, a couple RBIs. Keegan Aiken goes 2 1/3 and then gets pulled. What are his ratings? I probably should have looked at this. Let's take that down. Palante comes in relief and gets the win. So they want Von Necker added into that, which we're clearly not going to do. But let's discuss the trade again. We can put Kellner back in there, I guess. I'm fine with that. Age is rough, but totally worth it with them retaining all of it. Yeah, that's my take. Oh, Necker's hurt. Oh, he's only got a foot contusion. He's okay. Any of our young guys. Okay, Ventus off to a hot start. How's Alkins doing? Coming around. The control's up to a 40. That's good. So we did get that bump that we needed to see in control. So next year he starts in Double-A. How's Torres doing? Yeah. Torres, I think, is ready for Double-A. He's hitting 400 in his first 15 games in high A ball. I mean, I would even do it without Sloan. Because he's good defensively, but that's about it. Let's try it with Sloan and Kellner first and see what they say, and then we can remove Sloan. I mean, I would even back this down, a little bit. Even paying Gausman a couple $1 million next year is I think fine. All right. So we're at the deadline. Let's start. I've received. Yeah, we're still at no way. Okay. So we will discuss the trade again. Let's remove Sloan. Submit that offer. Already got a response. It's probably another no way, that means. Yep. Oh, but we can get there. We can get there. For some reason, the game likes Tanner. Well, Tanner Zellum. It's got, the ratings we look for, but what about Anson Aros? I can give him up. So Kellner, Paddock, and Anson Aros in exchange for Kevin Gausman 100% retained. I think it's a bit of a step back this year, at least from a ratings perspective. But even if we get Gausman at, 80% of this next year, that's still an effective fifth starter. Hasn't been great, hasn't been particularly good this year, but his last 2 seasons, since the sim started, We had a 5-win season, a couple of 3-win seasons. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm okay with this. So let's go ahead and complete the deal. The team isn't going to, the fans aren't going to like it because they like Paddock, but getting Gausman at 100% retained gives us another starter for free next year. So let's go ahead and do that. Big trade right at the deadline. Fans do not like that at all. Our fan interest, however, is at a 94, so we can absorb that. Gausman will move into the rotation. And I think we are good from a move perspective. All of our pitchers are tired, so we might have to do something a little bit different here. Do we have a game today? Yeah, we have a game against Philadelphia. So we have a lot of games coming up here. So we're gonna have to make a move tomorrow, and maybe start a reliever or something. But that's okay. All right, let's go ahead and finish the month. Excuse me. Oh, I'm out of tea. I may have to pause and go get something else to drink here in a little bit, because I'm not going to be able to get through the rest of this stream without drinking something else. Another win with Burns on the mound. Corbin has 15 wins at the end of July. 15 wins at the end of July. McCracken with a home run. PCA, Thompson, and Romo all homer. Big offensive performance for us. Goldie at 286. So he's not hitting for any power. I mean, it's still early, but 4 for his first 14 with us in his second campaign. All right, so what do we have to do from a pitching perspective? Because all of our starters are tired. Palante's again. Our 2 long relievers are tired too, because of course they are. He pitched yesterday. He pitched 2 days ago. I think we just go Palante. Who's going to be the next guy? No, I think. How do we do this? Do we call somebody up? We can't call somebody up because none of our pitchers can go down to the minors. What do our pitchers have for stamina? Gausman, Burns, Griffin, Contreras, Aikens, Venise. Yeah, they're all 35s. I think we start Underwood. We're going to start Underwood here as a starter here in this one. Actually, we'll go 6 starters for a couple of days until we get somebody who is rested. We'll just kind of sim a day at a time. Well, we always sim a day at a time before we go back to a 5-man rotation. All right, so Underwood's going to get the start today against Philadelphia. We lose 3-2. That stinks. All right, so do we have a starter who is not tired? Not yet. Gausman is exhausted, so he can't go. It's got to be Santana. But I don't want him going on 4 days rest. We got to call somebody up. We got to call somebody up. We got to call a pitcher up. We got to send somebody down to the minors. Who do we send down to the minors? Send RJ down for, I know it's blasphemous, and I apologize, but we got to get a starting pitcher up there to pitch, and all of our starters in the minors are tired too. Palencia. All right, Palencia is going to get the spot start. Palencia in there for Gausman. Let's go to strategy and where am I going? Bench player here for a couple of days. Make sure they don't use him as a reliever. Restricted list. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yes. I always forget to do that when someone gets suspended. Always forget to do that. Always. That means RJ can come back up. And I think he just goes in the outfield, right? Put him in center. We're not going to bat him clean up, but we'll put him in center. I guess we put PCA in left field for the time being. which is fine. RJ in center. PCA in the left. Move Goldschmidt up. Move Mayer down. All right, where do we stand pitching? Do we have a starter who is... Okay, so Santana's ready to go. So we can take Underwood out. We can move him up there. Where do we stand with Gaussman? He still has... Don't be angry. Don't worry about it. I got it under control. He's got a couple of days still. Does that fix the rotation if we go with Santana today? Palencia. Oh, we also have Palante, so we're fine now. All right, Philadelphia. 3-game lead over the Reds. August 3rd. 1-day suspension, so we got to call him back up tomorrow, but that's fine. All right, 5-4 victory. Santana pitches 6. Angulo blows the save, but gets the win. Bregman homers twice. All right, I was a little concerned about what we were getting out of Bregman this year. That average was really, really low earlier in the season, but he's bounced back a little bit. I mean, his OPS and his OPS plus are actually higher than they were a year ago. All right, so I think we're okay now from a pitching perspective, right? Yeah, we've got Contreras and Palencia can go back down to the minors now. We will take... Are they listed? Is he listed there? Oh, he's suspended for 2 more days. Oh, okay. He's suspended for 2 more games. So I guess... We have our 13 pitchers. Gaussman can go in. He's not going to start until tomorrow. Today will be Contreras. Tomorrow should be Gaussman. Right. Okay. So now our rotation is kind of back on line here, which is fine. Underwood can go back into a middle relief role. Palante can go back into a long relief role. Put him in as a backup setup man. And we'll just run with this offense until Acuna is back in a couple of days. All right, Milwaukee now with Contreras pitching. We win again. The lead's up to 4 games. Bregman 4 hits. Corona had 3. McCracken 2 hits, 3. Yeah, he's been a real surprise. Danny McCracken. Drafted him in the 9th round back in 2026, and I called he skipped AAA because I lost 2 second basemen, and he's been really good. Where is he at second base? Actually, hasn't been great at second. I think that's because I've been training him up at second. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he had a second best rating when I called him up, but we win again. We get Acuna back tomorrow. We have a 4-game lead. Second game, we got Gaussman on the hill for his first appearance as a member of the Cubs, and it is a 6-2 loss. Not good. You would say, I mean, he didn't pitch badly. 6 1/3, 3 runs. You know, Eduardo Nunez gave up 3 runs, which is something he hasn't done like at all this year. So we lose, but I don't blame Gaussman for that. Acuna is back. Do we have 25? Yeah, we got 25. So we can put him in the lineup again. Ooh, excuse me. What did I just do? I took that. That's what I wanted to do. Acuna. And then Acuna for Mayer. Put him in left. PCA in center. Move him up there. Do something like that. And we're ready to go. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to pause here in a minute, guys, and run down into my house and grab some water. I'm in my office is it's a detached garage. The space above the garage is finished, so I have to like go down the stairs out of my garage, like across my driveway into my house, and then back up. So I'll be back in a second, but let's sim a couple more games here. Another game against Milwaukee, and again, I'm just the top of my head as I keep slouching down in my chair. Another loss, not good. Leads down to 2.5. That's a bad loss. Keegan Aiken has not pitched well since we picked him up. That's a little disconcerting. Final game of the series at home against the Brewers. Another loss. We got blown out. That was an ugly series against Milwaukee. Ugly against the. Of course, it's against the last place Brewers. What else would it be? That was with Corbin Burns on the mound too. 3 straight losses. There we go. We bounce back with a 6-4 win. Bregman 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Kraken 2 more hits. Santana goes 5. The bullpen does what our bullpen does. We get Anderson back in 3 weeks. I think getting Campbell out of that 2-hole is probably something that we want to do. And I forgot to reset my depth charts. Now all my outfielders are tired, which is probably part of the reason I'm losing games. Mayor. Every 4th game against lefties. Do something like that. Yeah, all of our outfielders are tired. You're a Bubba Thompson super fan. He's been really good for us, man. He's been really, really good for us. We picked him up off a down season, 239 his last year in Texas, 78 OPS. OPS plus, rather. And in his 2.5 seasons with us, he's put up 8.1, almost 12 WAR in 3 seasons. And his contract, we signed him to a contract extension last offseason, and it's reasonable. 10, 15, 17, and then he has a player opt out, and then it becomes a team option in that last year. So it's a reasonable contract as well. We're not locked up long term to a, an older player. So yeah, he's been really, really good. Out of that number 2 hole, do we just go Bubba? We just bat Bubba Thompson second. And then do something like this, because something like that, I guess. And then against, this is against lefties. Wait, against lefties, why don't we let's bat Goldschmidt second. That 70 contact, 65 eye. Maybe he's not going to hit a lot of home runs, but another 400 on base percentage in front of the middle of our order. I could be down for that. And then against righties, we'll do Thompson in the 2 hole, and we'll bat him 7th. I'll get through the San Francisco series, then we'll go get some water. Still a 2-game lead on the Reds. Yeah, we can't shake them. We cannot shake Cincinnati. It's been that way for 2 years now. 10-9 in 11. Bregman 2 hits, 3 2 hits, 3 runs scored. McCracken with 4 hits. Corona 3 hits, 3 RBIs. Bregman homers twice. Acuna homers. Bregman's been red hot, man. Up to an 831 OPS. He's been fantastic. Contreras gets smoked. That's not good. Our bullpen does their job. And the final game of the series. We're going to take a quick break here with a 2-game lead, a 1-game lead, or a 3-game lead. A 2-game lead. So we sweep San Francisco. Kevin Gausman. There we go. 6 innings, gives up 10 hits. Only 1 run, 6 Ks, though, so he looks really good so far through his first 2 starts. Angulo blows the save. Coleman gets the win. How's he been? Fine. BABIP's a little high. Walking, maybe a few too many, but not a huge problem. All right. Got any emails we need to look at? We'll sim to the end of August, and then we'll take a look at our young players and kind of see how they're doing. So, all right, guys, I'll be back in just a sec, so you get to see me in my pajama bottoms. And I'm wearing flip-flops with socks. So if you want to make fun of me, go ahead. You can see there are my flip-flops with socks. I wear flip-flops like 8 months out of the year. So I'll be back in just a second. I'm back. Professional streamer attire. Yeah, that's right. Well, wouldn't a true professional, Josh, wouldn't I have, what's that stuff called? G Fuel? Isn't that what professional streamers do? All right, water. Oh, all right, much better. Let's keep going. Yeah, you guys see into like the inner workings of me. Like, I'm just a like I don't want to call myself a slob. I mean, you know, I can look nice when I need to, but having worked from home for the last almost 11 years now, like 80% of my attire are like hoodies and shorts and pajama bottoms because I don't go to meetings. I don't do anything like that. So anyway. All right. We got Aiken on the mound. He hasn't been good. So Palante's actually, I think, been pretty good as a reliever. Yeah, he hasn't given up a run in 11 innings. So I don't know that taking him out of that role is the right move. So we might end up going to like Foster Griffin or something like that. So let's see how Aiken does in his next. In fact, I think we skip his next start since we have an off day. I think we go to Burns. I think we go to Corbin. Yep, that is what we will do. Who are we playing? Oh, we're playing the White Sox. On the south side. And they beat us 2-1. Well, that teaches me a lesson. Santana now. 2-0 win. 2 hits and an RBI for PCA. Ooh, we almost had no hitter. We gave up a hit in the ninth. Look at that. Santana 5 hitless, Nunez 2 hitless, Abreu pitches a hitless inning, and our closer Vinicio gives up a hit in his ninth inning of work. When you were working from home for over a year to put on real clothes and make sure your brain. Yeah, I did that for a while. You put on real work clothes, you come to your office, you do your work. When your work day ends, you get into your jammies so that your mind kind of gets, and yes, I said jammies. I got 3 little kids, deal with it. So that your mind thinks, all right, I'm at work and it needs to work. But I've been doing this for so long now that I literally, like, I'm efficient enough in my job that, I mean, the reality is that I can record video game videos 5 days a week. Like, that's how efficient I am in my day-to-day. So I have time to do stuff like this. So my mind is kind of where it needs to be when it comes to video game, when it comes to work. But yeah, I had to do that for a while too. Still just a 2-game lead. Make it a 3-game lead. Contreras picks up his 12th win. Goldie, look at that. The pinch hit home run for Paul Goldschmidt in the 7th inning. I mean, the ratings just haven't dropped for him. His ratings have stayed almost identical since the beginning of The Sim, and he's 40 years old, and he just continues to rake. And yeah, I mean, again, that contract gets to be ridiculous next year, but maybe he signs another 1-year contract, and maybe we bring him back again at the deadline next year. He is getting it done for us. All right, we got Arizona, who is the other really good team in the National League, or at least they were a year ago. Where are they this year? They're the top wildcard team, 69-48. So we got a 3-game lead. We are in Arizona. We lose the first game. We lose Bregman for 5 weeks now. That's not good. Guess we go to Wilkin. I don't know what to do. Who comes in? I mean, I guess Wagner would come in against lefties. I guess we'll go to Wilkin against righties. Because he doesn't really have any splits, but that's pretty awful. We don't have a leadoff hitter now. This is brutal. I mean, the reality is that these three guys, Romero, Anderson, and Bregman, are 1, 2, 3 in terms of who we would have leading off for us. So I think we're gonna go PCA against righties just because he has the. His on base percentage is obviously driven by his batting average this season, but 3 straight seasons of a 350 on base percentage. I mean, that's what he is. So I guess we'll go with that. And then against lefties, Campbell doesn't really have any. I mean, do we back Goldschmidt? I think we go Goldschmidt first and then Bubba Thompson second. Do something like that, I guess. Goldie everyday starter. His ratings aren't. I guess his ratings are fine against righties. Yeah, I guess his ratings are fine. And we can play Corona at first. Yeah, I think we play Corona at first and Goldschmidt at DH. That's going to obviously hurt the numbers because part of what makes him, so valuable to us are his splits. I mean, 962 OPS against lefties this season. So, all right, leads back down to 2. Arizona the Reds are just hanging with us, and it doesn't help that we're missing 33% of our lineup, but it's all part of it, I guess. Another loss. The lead's down to 1. We got Burns going today. Can he end this streak? Nope. So we get swept in Arizona. That's not encouraging. And we bounce back with a 5-1 win. Cool. I pick up my 500th win. Who got the win in this one? Casey Schmidt had 2 hits. McCracken 3 hits and an RBI. Santana Nunez gets the win. Man, our bullpen is so good. So good. Look at these ERAs. We have 4 pitchers with sub-2 ERAs. And Andre Palante as a reliever has been perfect. 5 hits in 14 innings as a reliever. Oh. All right. Here we go. Zach Eflin against Efren Contreras. And we're in second place. We are in second place. We are playing sub-500 baseball in August. And we got Gaussman going against Paddock today. So this is kind of a revenge game for both teams. And we win 7-1. So we're still in second place, though. Cunha 2 hits, 3 runs scored. Campbell a couple hits, couple RBIs. Goldschmidt up to 358 with us. Gaussman goes 8. Gaussman's been good for us. It's been very good for us. Yeah, we get Anderson back in a week. So we'll have Anderson and Bregman hopefully for the postseason. Losing Mikey Romero stinks. He was having a great year for us. And he actually got better. His ratings he hit his peak potential while he was on the injured list. All right, Minnesota at home. Aiken pitches today. No, he doesn't. We have a double header. Let's see what happens in this twin bill. We win 1, lose 1. So Aiken, I think, pitched in the loss. Yep, he continues to be bad. And Burns pitched in the win. Yeah, but he was bad too. Huh. 2 bad pitching performances, but we pick up a game, so we're a game up on the Reds now. I think Aiken, once we get to roster expansion, I think Aiken comes out of the rotation. Believe it or not, I think Aiken comes out of the rotation. We'll call back up Jonathan Edwards. He's obviously done nothing. He did nothing to deserve being sent down, but excuse me. Hawkins is up to a 70 potential. Now, yeah, the control's up to a 60. So we'll look at all this stuff in a minute. We'll look at all that stuff when we get to the end of the month. Colorado at home. Leads up to a game and a half. We lose 3-0. Santana pitches today. Excuse me. We lose again. Gaussman. We get swept. Cool. Get swept at home by Colorado. And we lose Foster Griffin. Man, we are being challenged here this season. That is for sure. Half game lead. Yeah, the repeat's not going to be easy if it's going to happen. It's not going to be easy if it's going to happen. At Pittsburgh now. Pirates 3 games over 500. We have a half game lead on the Reds. We had Aiken pitching today. He finally pitches well. There we go. 5 2/3, 1 run. So all I have to do is talk about taking him out of the lineup, and they respond. And look who hit a home run. R.J. Mayer with his 3rd bomb of the season. Game 2 is Isaias Uribe against Corbin Burns, who at the end of July had 15 wins. We're now here at the end of August. He has 15 wins. So let's see if he can get his 16th before the month ends. Looks like he did. Well, we won the game. Did Burns get the win? He did. 5 2/3. Bubba Thompson homers. Kraken has been really, really good for us. But Tim Anderson is ready to come off the DL, or the IL rather. Wilkin can go down. Let's call Anderson back up. Get him right back in the lineup and back up at the top of the lineup. Yeah, we're fine with that. Against lefties. Excuse me. Kraken, Thompson, move everybody down 1. Wagner can be our backup first baseman. All right, so hopefully he can stay healthy this time. 2 more years after this one. 2 more years after this one, Mango. And it does get, next year gets expensive. He's at 32 next season, but then he's only at 20. He's at, I mean, not only 28, but it was only a 4-year contract. And I don't mind signing players to 3 or 4 year contracts at big money. What I don't want to do is those 7 or 8 year deals. And the reality is that he gave us 5.3 WAR last year. He'll end up around 3 WAR this season. So even if the next 2 years are a complete bust, we still get 8.5, 9 WAR out of him, which is fine. And the next 2 years won't be a complete bust. Even if he only plays half a season because he's fragile and he can give us 2 wins per year, what we got out of him so far has been worth it. So, all right, final game of the month. Santana will pitch against Connor Overton. We have a 2.5 game lead. We win again 5-0. Anderson, his first game back, goes 3 for 5. Casey Schmidt hits his 17th home run. Corona with 3 hits. Santana 5 shutout. Cool. We get an off day today, and then we have roster expansion. Yeah, the Anderson contract was not approved in the comments of the video. I had a couple people say that they didn't like the contract, and I agree it was probably an overpay. But again, it's only 4 years, and frankly, the first almost 2 years have been really successful. So I can live with what we get over the next 2 years, to be honest. All right, well, Michael Torres. He's actually gotten better. He was a 50-60 when we got him. He's now a 50-65. And he probably stays in AA. That looks to be the right division or league for him right now, although the ratings suggest otherwise. He's not really tearing it up there. So good leaving him in AA for the rest of the season. Mike Hawkins. The potential movement gets worse. I mean, he won the World Series. Yeah, it's not a bust, right? Yeah. Unless his ratings fall off a cliff in the offseason, he only needs to be worth, what, 3 WAR? How much is a WAR worth now? Is it $10 million, at $12 million, something like that. So he only needs to put up 2 or 3 WAR in order to really be worth it. Mike Hawkins is pitching well, or pitched well, I guess, in A-ball once we called him up. Ratings are hanging in there. Not really sure what we're going to get out of him long term, but Alkins, however, his velocity gets better. And yeah, he starts in AA next season. Probably finishes in AA or AAA is probably with the team in a couple of years. Not next year, but the year after. Let's look at... Yeah, right. Mikey Romero improving while on the injured list. You love to see that. All right, so we got Drew Burress. He's going to be a backup outfielder. I mean, the reality is that he probably replaces RJ Mayer because he's got a better bat, and RJ's 80 range, I don't think makes up the difference for what Burress gives us here, which I know people don't want to hear, but that's probably the reality. Talked about Burress already. Necker, good to contact, back up to a 65. He stays in high A ball the rest of the season, probably AA next year. But this could be the power bat that we've been looking for, right? If it continues to develop. Talked about Hawkins. Oh, Brad Hall again. Really good defensively. Probably backup catcher when it's all said and done, but you like those ratings. Sechrist was our 5th round pick this year, and he's hitting the ball really well in A ball. The home run power is already up. It was a 35 when we drafted him. It's up to a 40 now. Has the range to play center. He'll probably end up a corner outfielder for us, given what we have in center. Rookie ball, how's Grant doing so far? Not bad for an 18-year-old, to be completely honest. And his contact has actually gotten better. His contact was a 25, I think, when we drafted him. Yeah, his contact improved. Ventus was our 1st round pick. He's not really hitting, but still a long ways to go. Went is getting absolutely destroyed. 41 hits, 37 runs, and 25 and 2/3 innings, but that's what you get out of an 18-year-old, I guess. Sug Gillen is hitting the ball quite well for an 18-year-old in a rookie ball. Almost an 800 OPS. Excuse me. Andy Clark is another young catching prospect. Anybody there? No. What about here? Charbel Gonzalez. Where he wants to be pitching in the majors. Where did he come from? Wow. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move Charbel. Let's disable his AI promotion, and let's call him with the AA. And then we've got the international complex where we still have some pretty big names. Andrade was our guy last year. The Handkerchief Prince. One of the greatest nicknames you'll ever see. But yeah, he's a center fielder. Can play right with that. Probably elite in right field with that 80 outfield arm. But he can play any outfield position. Catano, a pitcher. Scouting is now low on him. We got him a couple of years ago. Same with Raposo. He was a scouting discovery in 2026. Cornejo, we got in 2027. High work ethic second baseman. Yeah, so we got a lot of players in the international complex. But we got to call a couple players up. So who will that be? Do we have anybody who's going to be uninjured here soon? No, we get Bregman back in 3 weeks and Griffin back in a week. So, Killian, I think, just because he's a ground ball guy. Yeah, and he's pitched pretty well in AAA this year. So we'll call up Caleb Killian. And Poisson, because he gives us a little bit more infield depth. Not that these guys are going to do much now that they're up here, but excuse me. Well, here we go. We are into the final month. We have a 3.5 game lead. We finished the month 500. That was our worst month of the year. Our worst month of the year. I think the injuries are finally coming back to bite us here a little bit. So, see if we can finish strong. First game against Miami at home. We win 3-2. Casey Schmidt with his 18th home run. Acuna with his 19th. Contreras his 13th. Look at Goldschmidt, 333 since coming to the Cubs. Not really hitting for any power at all, but again, he's getting on base. So you get that 400 on base percentage in the number one hole or number 2 hole once everybody's healthy. And yeah, kind of get something going here. All right, Gaussman pitching today. 7-0 win. He's been really good. He's been really good. 8 1/3 shutout innings. He's got a 3.02 ERA since we traded for him. Schmidt homers for the second straight day. Drives in 4. Yeah, Campbell's batting average is a little disconcerting. But again, he's hitting .218. He's got a 661 OPS and 82 OPS plus, and he's put up over 3 WAR because his defense is just that good. Final game of the series against the Marlins. We sweep, and we do pick up a game. So the Reds win 2 out of 3. We win all 3 games against Miami. Aiken with another solid start. So it's back-to-back good starts for Aiken. Casey Schmidt homers for the 3rd straight game. He and Acuna each now with 20. Romo with 3 hits. Got Milwaukee. They swept us last time we played them. Let's see if we can avoid a sweep at the hands of the last place Brewers. They swept us at home, too. We win 10-5. Oh, Schmidt had homered in 4 straight games. Goldschmidt, 2 for 4 RBIs. He hits another home run. He's been fantastic. Just a great deadline acquisition. You'll love it. Corona, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Burns doesn't get the win. Long enough to get the win, but we scored. Whoa! I just realized how this game went down. That was a look at the win probability. We were down 5-0 going to the 9th. We put up a 10 spot in the 9th inning. That's a game. That is a game. Leads 4.5. Another win, so starting to play some good ball. Goldschmidt reaches base 4 times. Yeah, I don't like having PCA in the leadoff hole. I really don't. Need to get Bregman back here shortly. Santana's 10-8. Final game. Walker Buehler pitching for Milwaukee now. Lose to Walker Buehler. All right, so we get Griffin back in 5 days, Bregman back in, or Griffin back in 5 days, Bregman back in 2 weeks. Leads down to 4.5. The Reds or 3.5. Reds will just not go away. This is incredibly annoying. Let's make sure I didn't. I got nobody that I have to resign. Back-to-back losses. Aiken looking for his 3rd straight solid start. Let's see if we can avoid losing the series in Tampa. Nope, that's back-to-back losses. And great, we get an 18th round compensation pick. Or we don't get a compensation pick because we didn't sign our 18th round pick. That is fine. Lead still 3.5, so we've lost 2 in a row, so have the Reds. So it's McClanahan against Burns here. Looking for his 17th win of the year. And we get swept. And we lose Keegan Aiken for 4 months. Injuries this year, man, have been absolutely brutal. So Foster Griffin, he's not eligible to come off the DL. He's got to wait until tomorrow. All right. Absolutely brutal this year. Still a 3.5 game lead, though, because Cincinnati loses every time we lose. Home against the Mets. There's a 6-2 win. Now Griffin is eligible to come off the DL. And do we put him in the rotation? I think so. Give him a shot in that number 5 hole. Because, again, Palante's been so good as a reliever that I don't want to wreck that. Don't want to wreck that. So we win 6-2. The lead is at 4. 3 hits for Corona and Thompson. Santana goes 5. Edwards pitches 3 shutout innings. 4-game lead with Contreras pitching today. It's a 3-0 win. Lead's still 4 games. As long as they don't gain ground on us, it's fine. It's just they're not losing any ground either. Contreras 14 wins this season. Framber Valdez against Gausman. Seven to 6 in 10 innings. Tim Anderson 4 hits. Wagner 2 hits, 4 RBIs. He hasn't played much, but looks like he had a decent game here. Homer. Goldschmidt down to 298 with us, but still an 800 OPS. I really would love him just playing against lefties, but so Gausman gets hit hard, but he's still been above average since coming to Chicago. Coleman blows the save. Another good outing by Palante. But all right, final game now against the Mets. Lead is still 4 games. Been 4 games for like a week. And we lose. The lead's now 3 games. Look, more day-to-day injuries. They just keep hopping up. Bregman pitching today against Philadelphia. Still looking for his 17th win of the year. Won't get it today. This is crazy. Burns was 15-4, 15-5 at the end of July. He's gone 1-4. An ERA of 5 something here in the last 2 months. That's not good. His ratings haven't dropped at all. He's just not pitching well. Santana leads at 3 games. We win 9-1. Bregman's eligible to come back. That's going to be helpful. I can't send Wagner down. Poisson, I guess, gets DFA'd. Bregman comes back in. Bregman comes in at first base. Bregman moves up to the leadoff spot. And Bregman will come in at first base here. He will bat leadoff. And we'll leave Goldschmidt in the 5 spot. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. At least we get 1 player back from injury. And PCA's recovery is unclear. All right. Well, what is he out with? Knee inflammation. Oh, look, his ratings are dropping. Just as he starts to get expensive. Of course. All right. Final game of the series against Philadelphia. Lead still 3 games. Come on. Gausman pitching. I just want to win. If I can win like 4 games in a row, like, that's going to make me feel a whole lot better about the end of this season. But no, we keep losing. That's 2 straight losses. 3 straight losses. It's now a 2-game lead. We're only 6 up on the Cardinals. Burns, again, looking for his 17th win of the year. Nope. 1-game lead. We are choking this one away. 22-23 over the last 2 months. St. Louis, 5 games behind. I mean, we're going to make the playoffs. I mean, I don't think, no, maybe. I mean, if we keep playing like this down the stretch, we may not. Santana pitches today and gets us a win. Good thing he's been really good over the last couple of months, because he's really been it. Anderson has 3 hits. Bubba Thompson 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Yeah, Santana's been our best pitcher. 5-1. Look at him in September. He's been carrying us. He has been carrying us this month. All right, so what do we got left? Got the Mets, St. Louis, and Pittsburgh. The Mets, St. Louis, and Pittsburgh. What does Cincinnati have? Milwaukee, Detroit, and St. Louis. So it looks like maybe Cincinnati and St. Louis, hopefully they can beat each other up here a little bit in that last game of the series. Last game of the season, rather. And that can get us the division. We're only a game and a half up. This hasn't been good. At New York here. There's another win. Leads up to 2.5. That makes me feel a little bit better. We were down 4-1. But a 5-run 8th inning. Alex Bregman with a 3-run with a solo homer. Contreras doesn't pitch well, but our bullpen does. All right, got Gausman going today. With a 2.5 game lead. A 1.5 game lead. Foster. Oh, and Tim Anderson diagnosis pending. Okay. It's all right. And we lose another game in extra innings. So what's that lead down to now? Half game. Do we know what's going on with Anderson yet? We don't. So we're going to have to put Poisson in AAA, sim ahead a day, and just see what happens. How long's he out for? 4 weeks. So he's done for the year. Cool. Poisson will come back up. Danny McCracken becomes our starting second baseman. He's not going to bat second, though. McCracken at second. Move Goldschmidt into the 2 spot. Oh, boy. We have a half-game lead over the Reds. It has not been a good couple of months here for us. All right, so we have St. Louis for 3 and Pittsburgh for 3. They have the Mets for 2 and St. Louis for 3. Acuña's been on the Cubs since the beginning, man. He's been on the team for 4 years now. Yeah, he's been on the team. This is his 4th full season. All right, here we go. 5-game lead on the Reds. Hopefully 5-game lead on the Cardinals. Hopefully the Reds. Who did I say the Reds were playing? My memory's crap. Detroit. How is Detroit? 83 and 73. Okay, so they're not a bad team. So they've got a couple of tough opponents here in their final 5 games. We've got Pittsburgh, who's over 500. We got St. Louis for 3. Yeah. So we're both playing over 500 teams. So let's just sort of see how it goes. First game is Corbin Burns, who's won 1 game in 2 months. Finally picks up his 17th win of the season. We clinched the playoffs, but no interest in just making the playoffs. I want the division. Goldschmidt and Bregman both homer. Burns finally pitches a good game. Lead is a game and a half, so Detroit takes out Cincinnati. Second game of the series, they got Gallen going against us. Zach Gallen looking for a little revenge. Doesn't get it. We win another one easily. Bregman 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Casey Schmidt drives in a couple. Drew Romo with 5 RBIs out of the number 9 spot. Palante pitches 3 2/3 shutout. We look for the sweep now over St. Louis. Lead's still just a game and a half. So the Reds hanging around. They don't have a game today, though, so we win again. So the lead is now 2 games. So that knocks St. Louis out of the race, I think. RJ Mayer with a pinch hit home run in the 8th to break a 2-2 tie. Let's go, RJ. Love it. Contreras pitches 7. Abreu blows the save, but gets the win. All right, so here's the situation. Our magic number is 2, if I remember, if I'm doing the math correctly. Right? Magic number should be 2. Yeah, magic number's 2. We have a 2-game lead with 3 games left. We have Pittsburgh. They have St. Louis. So now we are all Cardinals fans here in the final 3 games of the series, or we just win 2 of the next 3 games and it won't be an issue. Game 1 against Pittsburgh, Gausman on the mound. He's thinking. All right, so we win 1-0 and we lose Gausman. Oh, he stayed today. I was about to punt my computer down the stairs. Casey Schmidt hits his 22nd home run of the year. Gausman pitches. I mean, he actually pitched really well for us. I mean, he went about 6 innings a start. Yeah, I mean, he was quite good for us. Palante picks up his 10th win. He was fantastic, man, as a bullpen arm. 3-0 with a 2.14. He was fantastic as a bullpen arm. All right, so the magic number is now 1. So we just need to win one of these next 2 games or have the Reds lose one of the next 2 games, and we are division champions. Let's see how this one goes with Griffin on the mound. If we win, Burns doesn't start tomorrow. Of course, it's going to pause because it's got to go to the next month. All right, we win the division. We win 2-1 in 10. That is another division championship for your Chicago Cubs, and we do it in walk-off fashion. Griffin gives us 4, which is fine. Bubba Thompson was injured. Oh, this game's trying to break me, man. This game is trying to break me. All right. So look at all the injuries going into the postseason. Yippee. All right. So we are not starting Burns. He is coming out, and we are starting Caleb Killian. And Burns, we will bench for the day. Let's look at the player development report real quick. Coleman gets worse. But that's okay. He was still dominant this year. Sechrist gets better again. Okay. Like that. Some of our international guys look like they're getting a little better. Team trainer working OT. Team trainer's not working hard enough is what this is telling me. All right. Hopefully the news isn't bad on Bubba Thompson. I mean, he's been such an important member of the team. Give us almost a 5-win season. So let's see what happens here in the final game of the regular season. Do we pick up 96 wins, or do we finish 95 and 67? 96 and 66. Bubba Thompson injury diagnosis. He's out for 2 to 3 weeks, which means we lose him for essentially all of the postseason. Cool. That does mean we're going to have Pete Crow Armstrong and RJ Mayer in the outfield together. So PCA has 3 hits. Palante got the start. Okay. Well, whatever. I mean, he did fine. He pitched really well. All right. So there is the regular season. We'll get to the postseason here in a second. Let's make sure we get Burns back out there. We'll start with pitching since this is what we're looking at. Santana, picked him up in the offseason this past season from the Yankees, and he was electric. 220 strikeouts. Only gave up 97 hits in 163 innings. He had a .91 whip. Are you kidding me? 4.5 WAR. That's elite, man. That is just super. Corbin Burns, another great season for us. 32-13 in his 2 seasons in Cubby Blue. Vinicio with another just unbelievable 5. He's better this year than he was last year. That's a casual 3.95 ERA plus. Struck out 94 batters in 59 innings. He's unbelievable. He's the best reliever in the game. Brian Abreu signed to just a really reasonable contract. He's got a player option, so he probably opts out. I would imagine he opts out, but he's been really good. Nunez had a really good season for us. 101 strikeouts. Contreras is fine as a. I mean, those sorts of numbers as a 3 or 4 starter, I have absolutely no problem with. He wasn't quite as good as he was last year, but still okay with it. Gaussman with us, 2-4, but a 3.72. Yeah, not like this. 3.72 ERA. He was fine. Glad to have him next year for free. Underwood, we signed to a 1-year contract, and he was terrific. So he'll probably move on. He'll probably want more money. Edwards was fine. Palante, once we moved him into the bullpen, was great. Angulo and Coleman were, injured at the beginning of the season and kind of back of the bullpen guys, but still, especially Coleman was unbelievable. Offensively, Bubba Thompson, a career year for him, 19 home runs, 78 RBIs, 301 average, but he will miss most of the postseason with an injury. Ronald Acuna, and what's probably his swan song with the Cubs, as he wants not a hefty raise, but a raise. And I don't know that I want to pay a 30-year-old Ronald Acuna that much money when we've got some young outfield talent on the way up. Casey Schmidt, another 4 WAR season. Down a little bit from his last couple seasons, but still, the heart and soul of our team. Mike Campbell put up an 84 OPS, 3.8 WAR because look at his defensive stats. He made 24 errors at second base, but that just, he gets to so much that you will take that. Same with Drew Romo, below average with the bat, but the glove makes up for it. Hey, what's going on, PM? How you doing, man? Yeah, we just finished the regular season, and we're about to head into the postseason. So he came in at the right time. PCA hit 300 for the first time in his career, but with a 377 BABIP. Goldie, 285, 369, 438 after bringing him back again this year. It was another great trade deadline acquisition. Bregman, counting numbers are down a little bit because he was hurt for half the season, but 2 WAR, 821 OPS in the time that he played, I will take. Corona was fine, played more than I would like him to, and then everybody else was. McCracken was fine too, I guess. Given what we got him for, and he ended up playing an above average second base. So once he got trained up at second base, he was fine. Yeah. So it's time for the postseason, and we're gonna have to put Bubba on the on the injured list. Playoff roster. All right, Triple Crown. Oh, Jose Ferrer. Yeah, he went 19-0. He went 19-0 with a 2.22 ERA. 19-0. Have you ever seen that in like a league that wasn't like, you screwing around and giving yourself all the best players? 290 strikeouts in 178 innings. I thought we were going to have the Cy Young. We're not going to have anything close to the Cy Young. His contract expires after this season too. So that'll be interesting to see what he's asking for in the offseason. All right. So Bubba Thompson. Oh, my nose is itchy. Bubba Thompson on the injured list. We'll just put him on the playoff roster list in case they come back to us and tell us that he's healing quickly or something. So we're without a third of our starting lineup from the beginning of the season. So I guess we just go with Wilkin. Or Tommy White, I guess. Give us another left-handed bat. All right. So I guess we just go RJ in center. Excuse me again. RJ in center, PCA in left. It's not a really good lineup against lefties. It's really, really not. Oh no, he'll play left and he'll play right. What am I doing? Left, right. Thank you. Excuse me. We're not going to start anybody in the postseason other than our starters. I want the AI to do something dumb with my lineup. So unless somebody gets hurt, we'll just set these to never. We'll have Tommy White as that pinch hitter against lefties. Pitching, we'll go with the four-man rotation. Burns will be, Burns, Santana. I think we go Gausman and then Contreras. All of our bullpen arms will move up an inning. Underwood, we will use more often. Nunez, we will use more often. We will use more often. All right. So what does the playoff look like? What do the playoffs look like? Tigers, Rays, Yankees, Twins in the American League wild card with the Red Sox and Rangers, your two top seeds in the National League. Reds, Dodgers, Giants, and Braves. At least we don't necessarily have to go through the Diamondbacks or the Reds until the LCS. I'm tired of playing the Reds, and I don't want to have to face 19-0 Jose Ferrer. Drew Romo always ends up on your roster, easy to get, and sometimes a cheat code. Yeah, his bat is terrible. I mean, he's never gonna hit well enough. So, but the defense, defense is there. We do actually have, however, a minor leaguer in high A ball right now who is right there. He's got the 70 catcher ability. He's got 60 catcher throwing catcher arm versus 65. So Brad Hall could be the new Drew Romo once Drew starts to get expensive, which I think is next season. We may look to move Romo and we can go to Brad Hall, but that's for the future. All right, let's get into the postseason. I guess we can just sim ahead now, right? We don't need to do day by day until we get to the next round. Let's go to the next playoff round. Dakota Katowski for Philadelphia. 47 home runs, 128 knocked in. Impressive. Dodgers are up. Braves are up. Tigers sweep the Rays. Twins sweep the Yankees. So it's the Twins and the Rangers, the Tigers and the Red Sox. We're taking on the Braves. All right, I was hoping we'd get the Giants just for something a little different. It's been a lot of Braves, Reds, and Diamondbacks for us for the first couple of seasons. Drew Romo with a 350 batting average has got to be like an 8 to 9 win player, right? Like, it's easily. I mean, if he's good for 4 WAR and he's putting up, a 70 OPS plus, like, that's got to be an 8 win player, right? All right, let's take a look at Atlanta real quick before we go and get to see the postseason started. They finished 87 and 75, so not great. Middle of the pack offense, middle of the pack pitching staff. Matt Olson still swinging a stick, 30 and 100 for them this year. Michael Harris still a 70 overall. Austin Riley, 24 home runs. Old friend Nelson Velasquez, 25 home runs, 60 runs knocked in. Rayvaj Garcia, the former Cub, putting up a good season. 357 on base percentage. Pitching wise, they don't look as good. Max Fried getting up there in age, only won 8 games, put up a 3.25 ERA. Spencer Strider's pretty good. Alex Ayala, I take that back. Ayala looks pretty good. It's a minor league free agent signing. There's value for you if you're the Braves. All right, well, that's what we got. So it'll be Max Fried against Corbin Burns in game 1. Corbin Burns won 2 games in the final 2 months of the season. He was 15-5 at the end of July, well on his way to a 20-win season, and ended up with 17 wins. All right, game 1 at home against the Braves, and we win 5-1. RJ Mayer, 3 for 4 with 3 runs knocked in the first game of the postseason. You'll love to see that. Corbin Burns goes 7. You'll love seeing RJ Mayer light it up for us. We're going with Garrett Whitlock. Oh, they're going to go with Alex Ayala against Jeralmy Santana. Series is tied at 1. They beat us 1-0. Scored a run in the 3rd inning. Austin Riley with an RBI single, it looks like. Santana goes 4, gives up a run. Wow, Ayala was really good. 10 strikeouts in 4 2/3 innings. All right, now we lose home field. You guys know, before we get to the end of this, you know that we're going to lose in this round, right? You know that's how this is going to play out because we won 96 games. We're playing an 87-win Braves team. You know we're going to lose this round of the playoffs, right? That's how this is going to work. RJ Mayer for MVP. I hope so. He's the only player with more than 1 run knocked in through the first 2 games. Kevin Gausman against Spencer Strider. We're down 2-1. We get shut out in back-to-back games. So, yeah, we're going to lose in this round, and we might do the offseason because I got nothing going on. So we might jump to the offseason once we lose this series. Gausman didn't pitch badly. But when you don't score a run for 2 straight games, this is what happens. So Efren Contreras, our season is in Efren Contreras' hands, going up against Porter Hodge, and we win 3-1. So the offense does enough to win this series. Bregman 2 for 4 with a solo home run. RJ with another RBI. Contreras goes 7 1/3. We got Corbin Burns on the hill for game 7 at home. This is what we're paying him for, right? This is what we are paying Corbin Burns the big money for. Game 5 at home against the Atlanta Braves with a chance to go to the National League Championship Series. And we lose. We lose 6-1 because of course we do. Yep. Burns doesn't make it out of 5. Schmidt homers, and that, as they say, is that. So that is the end of our championship run. We win 1, and then we lose in the LCS, coming off a 96-win season. The injuries absolutely killed us this year, guys. Those injuries at various times of the season, but losing Bubba Thompson, Tim Anderson, and Mikey Romero, that's a third of our starting lineup, has been out really at one point or another most of the year, right? We were without Romero really from the beginning of the season. Tim Anderson got hurt multiple times this season, and we were out without Alex Bregman for half the season. So we were missing a third of our lineup pretty much all season long. So, yeah, not good. Not good. Fan interest down to a 90. All right, well, we are at, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going, I guess. Let's invite some players to come work out for us. Sergio Guardian. I don't like that third pitch. What are with these names, man? Worku Njiji. And I guess, I mean, maybe those are common names in South Africa. I don't have any idea. Not a lot of good pitchers here. TT on the hot seat. Who's TT? Should I know who TT is? Am I TT? I'm Ryan Sandberg. What am I looking at? Oh, I went to the wrong screen. What did I do? International. Invite more. Batters. All right. Luis Escobedo or Escobedo. Oh, team trainer. Oh, the thing is, our team trainer is the GOAT. It's Rick Jameson, man. It's Rick Jameson. So we got 2 Luis Escobedos. in the international signing this year. Oh wow, Noel Mayoni. Yep, we're going to invite Juan Gallegos. We'll invite him as well. I don't want to invite either of these guys just because if we sign them, we don't have any more money. I will invite David Ferrer just because he's cheap. We may as well just invite that starter. There's no harm in it. Sergio Guardian and Worku Najiji. All right. Yeah, we got the GOAT. We got Rick Jameson, but we will see what other options are there. Yes, I'm good with just what we have. All right, let's keep going. I guess let's sim to the beginning of next month. So the Sox are up 1-0 on the Rangers. In the National League, what? Oh, good. Bubba Thompson's eligible to come off the DL. That's super important. Play next month. Reds are up on the Braves. Rangers tie this year. I think the Rangers won the year before us. Both series tied at 1 now. Rangers are up 2-1. Reds are up 2-1. Rangers and Sox are tied. Good. Tim Anderson's eligible to come off the DL. Good timing, fellas. Reds are up 3-1. We have a repeat of the 1975 World Series, Red Sox and Reds. Rangers tie it at 3. Ooh, both series go 7. Red Sox win in 7. The Reds win in 7. All right, so a repeat of, 1975. Reds take game 1. I guess I don't mind if either of these teams win. The Reds have been giving us grief for 3 years now, so if they win a World Series, good for them. And if the Red Sox win, well, it's the Red Sox. So that's good too. Looks like it's going to be the Reds, though. They're up 3-0. Excuse me. Of course, we get to. That's fine. That is fine. It's just bad timing. Let's go to run practice. Cool. Let's go now until the playoffs end. Oh, the Reds won. Okay, the Reds swept the Red Sox. The Reds win the World Series. So the two wild card teams make the AL or the NLCS. It was the 1 and the 2 in the AL. All right. Well, 96 win season. I can't be too disappointed given the number of injuries I had. Abreu voided his contract. That's not a surprise. New budget, payroll of $190 million, so that leaves us with negative money. Cool. Bob Kwan was traded. No top 10 prospects. Active roster size now 27. Cool. So we can put an extra man on the 40-man. I can't sign anybody to an arbitration deal because I have negative money. So, let's start the offseason. I don't know if we're going to finish the offseason, guys. We'll at least get it started here, though. So this is going to be it for Acuna. Anybody that we are ready to just move on from. Ben Brown, we can go ahead and release him. Saves us a couple $1 million right off the bat. Oh, man, Vinicio wants $11 million. And the reality is that he's probably worth it. Santana wants, we got a couple of players whose contract demands just jump through the roof. Palante at 3.8. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was good. 7.5. He's a captain. He's been good for 2 to 2.5 WAR. I guess I didn't want to do it that way, but let's do it like this. Let's look it up. See what sort of options are out there for Romo. Gavin Guidry, no. Not much, apparently. All right. Excuse me. Wow, okay. So there are some options from a regular player perspective. Phillips, but he's out for 8 months. I mean, we could pick up a pitcher, and then that would have given us the opportunity to move on from Palante. This guy's bizarre. An 80 changeup. Struck out 207 batters in 150 innings. What's his ARB number? 1.8. That would save us some money, but Luis Morales. He was really good last year. What's his ARB number? 2.8. Hayden Junger saved 45 games. His ARB number goes up to 7. All right, Matt. I'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for hanging out. We could trade Drew Romo for Drew Rom. That would be something. That would be interesting. Drew Romo for Drew Rom. We get one Corella back. Started 34 games last year. Wasn't particularly good, though. So if we did this, could we also get... No, I don't want Junger. I didn't want that contract. I wanted Drew Rom. If we traded Romo, that means we probably go to Brad Hall next season, whose bat isn't any better than Romo's. We'd be taking a step back with the glove. I don't know that I love that. But it gets us a 26-year-old who's coming off of a 3-win season. Gets us another solid bullpen arm. They used as a starter, but we could use him as a swingman. Sinker, slider, pitcher, ground ball, good stamina. I mean, Romo's really good defense. You know what you're getting with Drew, right? He's really good defensively. He's only slightly better, though, than Hall. Because Hall is a 60/70. I think I'm going to do this. Gets us a couple of good pitchers. But it says our available money is not touched, but it is. That's the thing. It is touched. I think we do this. Wow. Jace Blaylock. First overall pick. Looks like maybe they rushed him. No, they didn't rush him. He's been in the minors for a few years. So do I have another way that I can save money? I guess that's the question. Because we need to get our who do we have? Is there anybody here that I'm good with just cutting? I mean, Palante at 3.8, I think we're probably, can we get anything for him? I guess rather than just cutting and not offering him a contract, can we get a prospect for him? No. What about a regular player? No. Okay. We are just going to go ahead and release him then. All right, so what does that do financially? So we're over. We have a little bit of money. I don't know that that's going to be enough to sign anybody, but we will see. Yeah, we can't sign anybody. Acuna wants 23, 26, 26. So we're going to offer him a qualifying offer. If we bring him back at $20 million, I'm fine with that. Underwood wants more than we can give. Abreu wants more than we can give. I think we have to trade Romo. We can go ahead and release Griffin too, I think. Why is that the maximum offer that we can? I don't understand. Okay, there we go. So we have a little bit of money there. So he wants 1.6. I want to get as many of these players signed as possible. Coleman at 30 years old. I mean, what's 2.8? It's not an unreasonable contract. We'll sim ahead a day and see if we can trade him. Part of the issue is I can't pay Vinicio. It wants me to pay Vinicio $11 million, and I struggle with that. Even if we cut him, 2.4 is the maximum I can offer. So if I get rid of Coleman, that'll free up another about 2.8 million. How far out is Necker? A couple of years. Yeah, I mean, he's still a couple of years away anyway. I mean, he's probably starts in high A ball again next season, and then high A maybe finishes in double A the following year, double A and triple A. So yeah, he's still a ways away. PCA wants 10 million. Is that maybe that's the way we go? I mean, he's 26. He's obviously really good defensively, but we have Torres who's ready to go and would be a slight step backwards defensively. We have Drew Burris who he could just put in center field. What can we get for PCA? $10 million for Crow Armstrong feels like a lot of money. We're getting some decent offers. Benny Montgomery, no. We're getting some okay offers, I should say. 4.2 is his hard number. Rocker. I mean, that's not bad. 60, 65, 40 with 3+ pitches. He's a ground ball pitcher. What's his ARB number? 3.1. I would prefer, honestly, to just get a prospect. But I don't know that. Or maybe you get rid of Bubba Thompson and let Torres take over the corner outfield spot. Ooh. Yeah, that's an option too. Trade him at his high point. I mean, he is 30. Let's see what that brings us. That's a good idea. That's not a terrible idea. What do we have for prospects before we do anything else? Wow, that's it, huh? Mata. He could be a starter. Well, that's disappointing. What if we... I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. I mean, there were a couple of okay prospects, but yeah, I mean, the offers aren't really there, and he's extreme. I mean, that would be such a huge fan interest hit. Wow. Okay. I just had to look. And then this is the other one. Okay. I think this might be the way to go. I think we just trade Bregman. For what, though? I mean, nothing here is great, but I think we just trade Bregman. His ratings actually just went up, but man, that I and avoid K against lefties. The game doesn't understand Bubba Thompson's value like you do. We can't move Anderson, which makes sense. Let's go ahead and do that. You know, fans, I know. Blah, 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 blah. I get it. We were going to take the fan interest bump on that, on the fan interest hit on that anyway. Max, we got to move a contract. That's kind of where we are with this. Because fan interest down to an 85. We can get all of that back if we can sign all of these guys to an arbitrate. If we can sign all these guys to 1-year contracts. Bregman, Bubba, 65, 65, 65. Speed. I think you're right. I think Bubba Thompson's the way to go. All right, let's just do it. Let's look at the prospects again. I know there were a couple of names there that were decent. Second baseman here, Dave Voigt. Pat Schubel. We don't really need another outfielder. Kevin Guidry. Sidearm guy. He's good against righties, not great against lefts. I don't like sidearm guys, but that's not a terrible pitcher. He's 23. Do I really want to trade him to St. Louis, though? I don't think I do. I think we trade him to the Yankees. Alvin Keels. Man, this hurts. This really hurts to just move this contract, but you're right. We've got the corner outfielder ready to go to replace him, who's just as good defensively. So if we can get 80% out of him that we got out of Bubba Thompson, yeah, I think that's the right move. So who is the pick? Who is the player that gets traded for? None of these guys are all that. None of the. They don't look at any of these guys and go, "Yeah, it looks all right." They're all just kind of meh. Maybe this guy. No, not this guy. This guy, Luis Baez. A little bit of pop in his bat. 65 potential contact against lefties or power against lefties. Fly ball, extreme pull hitter. 42 home runs last. Sure. Luis Baez, I guess. Let's submit the offer. Not crazy about it, but we do what we do. Got to make some changes. All right, so here we go. Emmanuel Madera. Complete the deal. Take the fan interest bump. So we were at an 85. We are now at an 80. So that kind of sucks. So let's get in here and sign everybody real quick. Santana wants 9.375 million. No, thank you. Can we give him 8.6? 8.75. Son of a nutcracker. Okay. That hurts. PCA wants 10. Go 9.9. Okay, get that contract signed. Romo wants 7.5. So that should be like 7,150, something like that. Yep. Benicio, he wants 11. Will he take like a 3-year deal if we do like 10? Something like that. I mean, my guess is probably not, but yeah. He wants 1 year at 11. Let's just do 10.5. Okay. I'm saving Schmitz for last. That's an absurd contract for Casey, but one that, frankly, he's probably earned. Not being able to sign Santana is going to hurt because he's very popular, so we would have gotten a fan interest bump there. All right, then Schmidt. Just curious. Right number, yeah. Okay, so that's not going to work. So he wants what, 17.6? So 1 year at, can we get him at 16.5? Nope, 16.5, 16,750. Excuse me. All right. Rip Bubbaton. Yeah, it's it's not great, but you know, this is why we build up the minor leagues, right? So that we don't have to pay out a ton of money. Where's my other water? We don't have to pay out a ton of money to a lot of these players. All right. Fan reaction, we get bump for Casey Schmidt. We get a fan interest for Pete Crow Armstrong. We get the fan interest bump for Nunez. We get the fan interest bump for Romo. So that should get us back close. Yeah, we're back up to an 86. I don't think anybody else is signing. Oh, we still got Vinicio. So we'll get another bump for Vinicio. That should be a pretty decent one. Fan interest increases. So we go from an 80 to an 89. So we're right back to where we were. We're right back up to 90 after the bumps. So that's fine. That does mean that we are going to go to Michael Torres next season. Excuse me. We may try to save some money elsewhere as well. I'm not sure where at the moment. Look at all of our pitchers that were on fire. Acuna's gone. Casey Schmidt. Next year could be it for Casey. Next year could be it for Schmidt. PCA wants, right now his ARB number is $20 million for next season. That ain't going to happen. This could be it. I mean, we could be looking at a kind of a new team kicking off the 2030 seasons. There's a vesting option on Corbin Burns, which if we don't want him, we can just make sure that we don't pitch him 160 innings. It'll be the last year of Tim Anderson. Bregman will be off the books. Schmidt will be gone. Pete Crow Anderson could be potentially gone if he really wants $20 million next year. Drew Romo could be gone. So we could be looking at a new team that's really led by Santana, Mikey Romero, Mike Campbell, players like that. So could be a different team in a year or so. Gold Gloves in the American League. Mackenzie, Hunt, Harris, Miller, Gonzalez, Marcelo Meyer, Dominguez, Rodriguez, Mason Auer. In the NL, there's Casey Schmidt and Edwin Arroyo. Are you? Oh my God. That is just ridiculous. I thought I was a shoo-in for the Gold Glove at shortstop, but doesn't look like that's the case. Yeremy Bastardo is your reliever of the year in the AL, and Benicio, no surprise, in the National League. Platinum Stick, whatever you want to call it, Silver Slugger, Rushman, Luca Reyes, Jacob Gonzalez, Colson, Montgomery, Orochio, Cruz, Green, Clase, and Jimenez. And in the NL, Alexander, Bolivar, Cup. No Cubs on that list. All right. NL Rookie of the Year, Will Ray, hit 34 home runs in the AL. Daniel Rivas for Houston. Manager of the Year, Edgar Perez. And in the NL, it's David Bell. Is this Jung Hoo Lee? Oh, Dylan Lee. Where'd he come from? How can they be signing him to a contract already? We're not at free agency yet. Cy Young goes to Shane McClanahan in the AL, and Jose Ferrer with his 19-0 with a 2.22 ERA wins the Cy Young. No surprise. Burns, Santana, Nunez, Underwood finish 4, 5, 6, 7. And your MVP in the American League is Dylan Cruz of the Rangers. 309, 44 home runs, 114 RBIs. And Brandon, I don't know if it's Lau or Low, 287, 46, 127 for the Nats. We didn't have anybody in the top 10. Corbin Burns was our highest vote getter. All right, arbitration. 190 or something. Or maybe it was 160 and he struck out 290. I'm not sure exactly. I'll look in a second. He was ridiculous. So we're into arbitration. 178 innings, 290 strikeouts. He's 37-3 in his last 2 years. 37-3 in his last 2 seasons. He's going to want, what, $50 million this season in free agency? That's absurd. All right, let's get through our, see how much we're going to have to pay out. So Acuna's declined the qualifying offer, and we won. Wow, we won the, oh, wait. Oh, we both asked for the same thing. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. Free agency. Internationals. I'm going to step away for a second, guys. I got to go to the bathroom. No internationals. Freeness looks okay, I guess. Did he sign a contract? Because he didn't have a contract. There he is. $37 million for 6 years, I think that said. Yeah, $37 million. Oof. All right. I'll be right back. And then we're gonna finish up. Probably go another half hour or so. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. 6 innings. What? You know the answer to that question. I mean, he only started 29 games, so it looks like maybe they used him as a reliever at some point. Well, they obviously used him as a reliever at some point, but game log. Yeah, looks like he went 7 a couple of times. Man, he was really good. He was really good. All right, so from a free agent perspective, pitching wise, we actually need to add pitching, believe it or not. What do we have in the minor leagues that we can call up? Let's start there. So we got Charbel Gonzalez. We don't have much. We are going to call up Torres. Potentially call up Burris as well, but I'm not going to do that just yet. Yes, we need pitching. We only have 4 starters. Burns, Santana, Gausman, Contreras. We don't need front end of the bullpen, like our Vinicio, Coleman, Nunez, Angulo are our 4. Yeah, it is. Santana had a .91. I mean, if Ferrer wasn't Ferrer, Santana, is right there. Give 97 hits in 163 innings. So we are going to need a couple of pitchers. Offensively, I don't think we need anything. Torres is going to be, he's He's got a 55 arm, so he's probably the left fielder. Armstrong. I mean, are we really? We're not really thinking about starting RJ Mayer, are we? That can't be a thing. So if we clear this. All right, so right now our starting catcher is Drew Romo. First baseman is Bregman. Second baseman is Tim Anderson. Shortstop is Campbell. Torres with that arm probably plays better in left. PCA in center. Oh, I forgot about my third baseman. Casey Schmidt is our third baseman. Right now, the DH against righties is Danny Corona. So we could use an outfielder and a designated hitter and a couple of pitchers. And I don't know that we have the money to do all that. So maybe we have some money. We've got like $20 million or something. But I'd like to put some of that back into scouting and development. Adley Rushman is there. He only wants $40 million this year. Riley Green. But we already did that on the White Sox save. Yeah, Acuna wants $30 million. I mean, he was good, but that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. We need a bat, and we need an outfielder. But more importantly, these are some outrageous demands, folks. Oh, Mikey Romero. I forgot about Mikey Romero. Thank you. Thank you. I knew we were missing something. So Mikey Romero will come in, and he will be our designated hitter / backup infielder. So really an outfielder. We don't really have one in the minor leagues that we're ready to go to yet. I mean, we could just call Burris up, stick him in right, and just go all defense in the outfield without much offense, but I'm not really crazy about that idea. No, I just forgot him. I would like to take some of this and put it back into scouting, really. So let's see if we can find a pitcher that won't cost a lot of money and is up. Brash only wants $9 million. Popularity is only fair. I want to find somebody popular as well. Devin Williams, what does he want? $16 million. No, thank you, sir. Eric Lauer. Durant. $24 million for a closer. Crazy. I needed a starter, too. That was something I didn't think. I need a starter. I mean, we could just go back to Chris Paddock. Ferrer wants an absurd amount of money. Gambrell's not any good. Crochet wants 10. Aiken wasn't good, but that might not be a bad contract given that he's popular and given that maybe we go Eater. Because Eater's popular. They're both very popular. I mean, I don't want to make decisions solely based off that. But Spencer Schwellenbach. I mean, those are three not bad options. Aiken, Eater, and Schwellenbach. That's only going to be about $5 million when it's all said and done. Aiken, 1.75. Eater, contract 1250. And Schwellenbach. All three of these guys can start if we need them to. And they're all going to be back of the bullpen guys. He wants 1.9, so we should be able to do 1.5. And I don't hate the idea of coming back and talking to Paddock. At 6 years I do, but do we have a contract that I'm comfortable trading? I mean, Romo might be that guy. I want an outfielder. What can we get outfielder-wise for Drew Romo? Yeah, I mean, there are options. There are options. We need Will Taylor. He was our first-round pick. He stole 63 bases in 2027 for the Red Sox. I mean, he's fragile, but Miguel Bleis in my offline save with the Red Sox, the season I just finished, he hit 59 home runs and drove in 160 runs. Alec Thomas at 2 years? No. Dylan Beavers. That's a name. He was the one who hit 49 home runs. We've talked about needing power in our lineup. 21, 25, 25. If he replicates that, it's well worth it. But if he gives us 1.7 WAR, I mean, he's never hit less than 30 home runs. That's a lot of money. $20 million is a lot of money for him. Ooh. What's his contract look like? 16, 23, 26, 26. Off back-to-back 40 home run seasons, has 3 40 home run seasons in the last 4 years. That's literally all he does. But I don't understand how he's a 200 hitter with a 55 contact overall, 60 against lefties. If I could get one of these contracts and have them retain, now we'd be talking. He's a righty as well. They're both righties. So we'd be paying him. Well, I don't think they're going to accept this, but I can't do that. Can't do that. Let's just look at all batters because we can pretty much make anybody a left fielder, right? Encarnacion Strand. He'd be a terrible left fielder, but he would be a left fielder. That doesn't really help our problem. Guy Rosario, no. Frelick's not a power guy, he's an on-base guy. Brett Beatty? Nope. Those stats and yeah, I agree. I like him. I like him a lot. It's hard for me to be willing to make that deal given the way he's performed. Westberg. I mean, he's really good at first base, but doesn't really do it for me. F. What F? F what? Tyler Keenan. Nah. I mean, he literally had 40 home runs, drove in 110 runs, and he was worth 1.3 WAR because he's that as good as he is offensively. He literally just played DH all year. Especially, with Nectar coming up soon. I want to be what can we get prospect wise for Romo? Anything? No, nothing. All right. So if we go back to regulars and we kind of sweeten it with a prospect that we don't necessarily care about, this is the guy we picked up. Let's get a scouting report on him because if that home run power is real, he's a potential something or other. What if we added Burris? I mean, just out of curiosity. Because we're going to be so good defensively already that I'm willing to sacrifice some defense to get some better offense. Not much. Spencer Jones. No. Katowski. I mean, I'm leaning. Like, what can we do here? It's like if I take him out and I have them retain, would you retain 50%? Be prepared for them to laugh in our face. What if you do that? It's $21 million? Is that right? 21, 25, 25. He's an average defensive outfielder, which is, I think, fine. We stick him in left field and it's not a problem. He's durable. He hits a crap ton of home runs. But again, another player that, the minute that batting average drops from 250 to 220, he becomes, a 1.5 WAR guy rather than a 3 WAR guy. Maybe Hawkins. It's not what I wanted to do at all. Let's try this. Huh. Interesting. So there's no real value in Hawkins, which I find hard to believe, but so if we trade Romo, we go to Hall, becomes our starting catcher, which I'm okay with. Let's try it this way. What if we retain? Does that change anything? And we could just bring back Will Taylor and call it a day. I mean, he stole 63 bases in his rookie season. What was his injury? Broken kneecap and then a setback. That's never good. His ratings look like? His ratings have held steady. I mean, this would free up some money. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. Jackson Chorio's had an okay career. I don't know what to do. I don't want to get locked into a long-term contract. But Katowski feels like let's do this again. let's go here. And how much can we get them to retain before this thing says they're going to laugh at us? What if we start at 50? Because now we're only paying $12 million for a potential 40 home run guy, which I'm okay with. Comes nowhere near. Okay. So where do we have to go to get a reasonable Mikey Romero? Okay, so we're not even close. I would have to retain all of it, and I'm not prepared to do that. So do any of your bench bats have outfield range? McCracken can play anywhere in the outfield. Tommy White is passable in left. What about Mikey? Mikey's passable in left. Corona's passable. So we have some players that are passable in left, but like that just doesn't, I don't want just, so we've got the defense in left and potentially right, or left and center with Torres and Crow Armstrong. What we're lacking is power. Especially now with Acuna gone. We need to find a power bat. That's the biggest problem here with it. We literally have like no power in our lineup at all. You think Jeromo is worth the $4 million? He's making $9 million this season, but yeah. Batting ratings. What do we have for? We try to bring Bryant back on a short-term deal. $26 million. He's wrecked, but he's played 130, 132, 130. I mean, he's played 130 games in five of the last 6 seasons. Yeah, it's Goldschmidt, but he doesn't want to sign with me for some reason. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is there, but I mean, call up Necker. I'm not going to call up Necker. This is just me screwing around here. I don't have any idea what the right option is here, so I may end up calling it and messing around and seeing what I can figure out offline. Yeah, we have absolutely no power in our lineup, and that's a huge problem. So contract expires after the season. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do, guys. I think I'm gonna end it here, and spend some time offline trying to sort some stuff out, and then I will on Monday probably record the next video, and kind of go from there. Because what I don't want to do is get caught up in a long-term deal. The reality, though, is that if we sign somebody like a $20 million contract next year, or if we make a trade for one of those players and pick up the contract, we're on the hook for, $20-25 million for 3 seasons. It's not terrible because, after 2030, we're not going to have a lot of money on the books. We're certainly not going to pay Vinicio $24 million that year. We might pay Santana. So, get my guy. Who's my guy? Is my guy the guy from the Phillies? What would it take to get him just outright? Where are we going? Philadelphia. Right? Philadelphia? Yeah. Get my guy. I forgot about Willie Castro. That's right. We spent a lot of money on Willie, and that worked out for us, didn't it? They'd make this trade in a heartbeat, which means we probably won't. That's not a... Oh, okay, so they would take this deal as is. Ooh. Ah. The opposing GM will not be... I wasn't expecting this, and this feels like an overpay. At $5 million, that means we're paying him $16 million this year and $20 million the next 2 seasons. I'm curious, though, how much more I could get them to retain. Is he popular? He's extreme. He should be extremely popular with the number of home runs he hits. This is a pair of, well, he was our 2nd round pick in 2026. He was our 1st round pick in 2026. I don't know, Breeze. I don't know. It all depends on the hockey game. All depends on how I'm feeling come 6 o'clock tomorrow night. I'm going to clear it. Yep, that's fine. I know. I'm sorry. You guys are not happy about that. I get it. I get it. I get it. Can I do it straight up at 20%? What about 30%? My trading reputation plummeted. Well, the Bruins are playing at 6 o'clock, so it all depends on how I feel tomorrow night. Devin Bennett. Let's edit the offer. Okay, so we got to offer more. So let's discuss the trade again. Let's back this down to 35. You haven't missed anything. I've just been fiddling with the trade. They accepted a deal that I wasn't expecting them to do, so I backed out of it, and it killed my reputation. But they're willing to take Mike Hawkins along with Devin Bennett, who's nothing, and Abel De Leon, who's nothing, and they'll send us Kotowski and retain 35%. So at 35%, we are paying Kotowski about $14 million this year, and then $16 million the next 2 seasons. So I think I'm okay with that. We get a potential 40 home run power bat in our lineup at $16 million. I think that's worth it. We need power. We have a surplus of pitching, so let's go ahead and make that deal. So we pick up Dakota Kotowski. That's our power bat in the middle of the lineup that we needed. Trading from a bit of a position of strength. Why are we looking at the Phillies? Let's look at the Cubs. Kotowski now is our starting left fielder. Cool. So that gives us that. Our backup outfielder now is RJ. Danny McCracken backs up. Yeah, I think we're good there. So it's now just a matter of landing some of the pitchers. So I guess we can probably sim ahead here a little bit now. A lot of trades made here. It still leaves us with a little bit of money left. I would like to put money back into scouting, so but that might be a next year thing. What does Schmidt want as an extension? Yeah, I don't know that Casey's coming back. This could be it for Casey Schmidt. So hopefully we see some pretty solid development out of Necker here this season. If we can get him up next year, that would be huge, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, we got a couple of outfield prospects that are not too terribly far off, I don't think. Seacrest will be up sooner rather than later. Burris will be up. Excuse me. Probably. He's passable at third. I mean, worst case scenario, I can move him over to first, but I mean, he's passable at third. The arm's not great. I mean, he's probably realistically a first baseman, but until we have a better fielding option, that's probably the way we go. Alkins, the control dropped again, but he's probably a couple years away too. It's December 1st. Let's get into scouting. Ferrer, I like what we're seeing here. Not much league interest yet. The rest of these guys are going to cost a fortune, but this is, I think, the guy we're going after. Noel Mayoni. It's either Mayoni or one of the Escobedos. He looks okay. Looks pretty good as a second baseman, but I think it's Mayoni, honestly. All right, let's get to the winter meetings. I've been going for 3.5 hours. I got to call it here. I'm starting to get tired. I think I might do the rest of the offseason offline and come back and do a review on Monday of what the rest of the offseason looked like. Duran signed a $107 million contract with the Phillies, or with the Blue Jays, a closer. $107 million. They have him listed as a starter. All right, you do you. Riley Green signs with the Phillies. 7 years, $248 million. Chris Bryant, $77 million for 3 years. That's not terrible if he stays healthy. All right, so we're at the winter meetings. We should have a lot of players on the block here. Anybody of real interest? I mean, it's Shohei, but we would need them to retain the entirety of that contract. Wow, they are way over the cap. Oh, he's exercising his 10-5 rule. Okay, well, that's fine. Real Muto. Bringing Brian Hayes to play third base. Yeah, not a lot there from an offensive perspective. That's a pretty obnoxious contract. What about pitchers? Like Snell? What's he making? Only $18 million. He's fragile. Pitched 96 innings a year ago. How badly do you want to move the contract? Oh, he's got a 10-5 guy too. All right. Where are we in terms of free agents? Ferrer's still out there. He's still out there. Has anybody made him an offer yet? Nationals. 7 years. It'll be about a $235 million contract. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Ryan Abreu. He's still at $14 million. Terrible. I don't know. If the game makes him a closer, I may force them to change it. And a no trade clause. If they make him a closer, I'm going to punch them in the face. So we've got Aiken, Schwellenbach, and Ader, or Jake Eder, who will all likely be coming in and kind of battling. I like Schwellenbach because of the popularity, but that's really about it. Truth be told, these two guys at least have some. I like the ground ballness. Is that a word? Ground ballness. Brandon Hughes looks okay. He wants $10 million. I'm good with that. Yeah, it's ridiculous. He was insanely good. Chris Rodriguez, he's extremely popular. Wants $19 million. Just looking for ways to bump up the fan interest here a little bit. Paddock is still out there. Love to figure out a way to bring him back. I'll keep an eye on his contract offers, and if he's not offered anything around, I'm hoping that once these guys sign, that'll bump our fan interest close to 100. And if our fan interest is close to 100, when we get to the preseason, we should, in theory, get a fan interest bump. We should. And if that's the case, and Paddock is still available, we may be able to make a run at him and bring him back. So I don't think we do anything in the winter meeting, so let's just get to the Rule 5. Excuse me. So the fans love the fact that we signed Jake Eder. That's great. So it takes us from a 91 to a 96. I feel like we should be able to bump ticket prices again. Fan interest being up to a 96. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to finish up here shortly, too. I'll probably just get to the Rule 5 and then end the stream, and then I'll do the rest of the off-season offline. It's probably the plan. Andrew Hoffman. Nope, I'm good there. Yeah, I've been going for almost 4 hours. That's the longest stream I've ever done, I think. Usually limit it to 3. Yeah, tomorrow night, I'm not sure, guys. It all depends on how I feel. If the cold is cleared up that I have, then it's possible I stream. But if I'm still not feeling great, then I'm probably going to not stream and just sit and watch the hockey game instead. Chase Shores. We'll put Shores on the 40-man just because we have the room. Luis Baez, we'll put him on the 40-man. He's the guy we picked up in the in a trade right at the end of the season. Gives us a little bit of power. All right, let's get into the Rule 5. See if there's anything there that we want. Angel Gonzalez. Oh, right. We didn't re-sign him, so he is now... we're going to go ahead and bring him in. Get him back on our team. That was a mistake on my part. What about popularity? We don't have popularity listed here for some of these players. Any more young players that have that extreme ground ball? Soto's not young. No, it doesn't look like it. Let's look at batters real quick. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Medellin, we bring him in, and I mean, ultimately, he could be at that replacement for Bregman. We bring him in. If these ratings are real, he's not going to hit for as much power as Bregman, but this allows us to trade Bregman essentially right away. He's put up back-to-back 400 OPS seasons. So let's go ahead and do that. Fans liked it. Cool. Excuse me. Let's finish the draft. Oh, sorry. Swampert, I didn't see what you said. Who are we looking at? Truman Richter? I mean, it doesn't matter now, but... He's all right. He's all right. High work ethic guy. Let's see just really quickly now what this means for Bregman. Just Sawinski. All right, what if we do all players? Rushing, no. Oof, that's a contract, man. All right, so it looks like, what if we retain 50%? I mean, it's only a $12 million contract. It's a reasonable contract. So do I. And not as much this year as I've done in the past. Excuse me. I think the game has done a better job of Atlanta can't retain. So what if we do? What if I gave you $3 million in cash? No, I kind of want to hold on to Bregman right now, because if I could put those two guys at the top of my lineup, Medellin, really good against righties, not great against lefties. Bregman's the other way. Bregman's really good against lefties and not great against. Yeah, the Out of the Park 24 has done a much better job of limiting that than previous seasons. Our prospect pool is starting to improve. That's nice to see. So you'll give me Dax Fulton for Tommy White. You need to retain. I want the fan interest bump from Fulton. He's extremely popular. So we get Schwellenbach. Fan interest improves significantly. So our fan interest is now at 100. So that is good. And because of that, we bumped ticket prices to $36, and we're seeing an increase there. So that's good as well. We are going to take a hit when we there's Ferrer's contract. Oh, wow. He ended up signing. That's a reasonable contract. Wow. Ended up taking 7 years at $22 million. I mean, it's way too long, but $22 million a year is not bad at all. A good deal for Washington. Rodon signs 3 years, $81 million. So I think I still have one more guy out there, right? I still have one more player that I'm waiting to sign. No, I don't. So we've signed all three of them. We've gotten our fan interest bump up to 100. We are going to take a hit when Acuna signs elsewhere, which will hurt a little bit. But then maybe we can turn back around, because we still don't really have a fifth starter. I mean, none of these guys are really great, but it's our fifth starter, and we can just rotate that position if we need to. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it here, and I'm going to do the rest of the off-season offline. So we'll do international amateurs offline, and I will come back at opening day. So 3 hours and about 50 minutes is enough for me. I am spent. I am tired. Thank you, everybody who hung out this evening, and have a good rest